Hi, everyone. Welcome to the RPGeeks. You have joined us for a very, very tense episode of Dungeons and Dragons and Science. This is episode 11 of our actual play D&D 5e with a sci-fi twist series, in which this is actually quite hard to just get through the description because I am just very tense. As you'll see why in a minute. What do? Oh yeah, we play D&D. Set in a far-flung universe, and everything that our characters do, everything that happens, everything that exists in the world has to be able to be explained with some kind of scientific basis. That's our challenge, and we have our DnDebrief section after the adventure in which we pick different topics to talk about the science of. Now, Ali will give you a plot summary when we start, so you'll see why we're all very tense. But for now, let's all introduce ourselves. Let's just check in with each other. It's very important. Make sure we're doing all okay. Emily's not okay. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Hi, my name is Shamini. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a science documentary maker. I am playing Tenebris, who is, in mechanical terms, a drow sorcerer. And I'm just peachy at the moment. Simon, why don't you go next?
Hello, I am Simon. I am the opposite side of the coin that Shamini flipped last episode in terms of discretion being the greater part of valor.
What did I do? What?
You scarpered up a tree. I stood my ground and fought.
Well done.
Hello, yeah, my name is Simon. I use he, him pronouns, and I play Uriel, which mechanically, when you said mechanically, it threw me. I thought you were going to introduce yourself as Infinity. Mechanically, I am mostly mechanical because I am Uriel, the dwarf monk, who is a cybernetically enhanced human. And I make science stuff and streams for a living, believe it or not. That just leaves the very stressed Emily Bates.
Hello, everyone. I'm fine. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily. I use she, her pronouns, and I make science films for a living. And I do play Infinite Sky 6000. And I will
Present
hopefully
tense.
keep playing her for a long time to come. And she is mechanically a robot. And also, in D&D terms, she is a druid who is technically a wood elf, but she looks like a robot. She is a robot. Is present tense, she's fine. Just a little unconscious, a little bit failing on death's throat. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Last person is the one with all the power.
And amazingly, this is the one episode where I don't have any power. I am actually, it's just the dice rolls, right? That's what's going to happen. There's not a lot I can do here.
You could have a potion.
A potion could fall from the sky into your face. Yeah, that could happen. It's a good idea. So I'm the DM, and I also make science films mostly for a living, and that's pretty much it. Let's do this. Let's do it.
Okay, we'll see you on the other side of the intro, everyone. Good luck.
So, where were we? After confronting a group of smugglers deep under the Mukinshi Mountains, the party had fled, a cataclysmic wave of energy unleashed from a mysterious cavern wall. And eventually, aided by a group of fish-like creatures, they found their way above the ground, deep in the mountain forest. At this point, the party took the opportunity to sleep, talk, walk deeper into the woods among the towering trees. But what they didn't see was that a wolf pack had been stalking them. And then, in a gloomy grove, carpeted in shadow and strewn with pine needles, the wolves surrounded them and attacked. Some rough rolls and some vicious wolf bites left Uriel and Infinity unconscious on the floor, with only Tenebris still standing. But before the wolves could finish her off, bolts rained down from the sky, and the last wolf ran. 4 figures descended into the midst of the carnage, landing around your stricken bodies. Tenebris, you were the last standing, shocked as the nearest figure to you turned and said, "We should thank you for doing the work for us." And in that time, Uriel rolled and failed his first death saving throw, and Infinity rolled a natural 1 and failed her first 2 death saving throws. So now, Tenebris, we are in initiative order. You will go first, then the figures, then Uriel, and then Infinity.
Oh, that was really good to know. Okay, that's
So-
good to know.
Okay,
That's so useful to know. I like that.
What
Do I like that?
would you like to do?
So, Tenebris is standing above these 2 crunched bodies, staring at these 4 figures who just appeared from nowhere. There's like this pause of what now? Are they going to kill me? But then she spins round, sort of collapses to her knees on the pine leaves, sort of like between the 2 of them, just looking at kind of both of them, trying to like reach out. Uriel's bleeding and been bitten in multiple places. Infinity, I imagine, is like there are bits that are just crushed, like the metal twisted, and Tenebris is like just almost uselessly just like putting her hands out, knowing that there's nothing that they can do, and saying no. And then she sits up, turns around, and talks to the figure that spoke, and says, "Help them! Help me! Help us! Please! You have to help them." If I am only permitted 1 action, it would be to roll a persuasion check.
I think if all you're doing is asking for help, you could make a big deal out of it, in which case the DC would be lower, and then that would be your action. Or you could shout it at them as you run off to do another action, and the DC would be higher. But both, there will be a persuasion check.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
In that case, Tenebris is not convinced that these people are going to help. They might be about to kill her. It's a very sort of desperate attempt. She's gonna say that, and then go back to Infinity and start trying to like push the panels back in, and just find these sort of like broken bits of metal and put them back into place somehow.
So, this is you trying to stabilize?
Yes, so I'd like to, both roll a persuasion check and then roll a medicine check to stabilize Infinity.
Okay, roll a persuasion check to ask for help from these people.
Okay, right. Very persuasive, which is why I thought this would be a sensible thing to do. But it's so high risk.
I'm shaking.
25.
What?
25.
Yes, sorcerers! Yes!
You drop to your knees, crawling towards the bodies of your fallen friends. As you scream out, without even looking behind you, "Help them!" You see the figure turn out of the corner of your eye. You hear a muttering, What? Arashka? What? That's all you hear. You reach Uriel's shattered figure. The plates lying on the grass. Splinters of broken glass embedded in the turf. You pull yourself over to see where the cables in her neck running down deeper inside her body are exposed to the air. And you try to somehow bring the important parts back together. Roll a medicine check.
No training in robotics. Robotic healing. No, that was so nearly a natural one. 13. So close. Sorry.
With a 13, you search around on the floor, buried in the needles. Underneath the bodies of the wolves which have fallen, you find an encased box covered in hard shielding. You pick it up, you take it back, and as you bring it closer and closer to Infinity's shattered body, you see the pieces start to bend slowly towards it. And as you place the box in the crater where her chest was, you see out of, just as you focus in, tiny strands of metal wiring start to creep from her body towards this box. And the light starts to flicker behind her eyes. Now, behind you, you hear movement. That same rough tone. Two shadows fall over you. One of them is the same woman that you talked to as you were coming over, hunched, binocular goggles swinging from her neck. She bends down over the body of Uriel. She starts looking him over. Then you hear another voice from further away. Look up, an older man with a hunting rifle slung across his back, sat on the floor in the pine cones. He looks over with sunken, coal-black eyes. He gives a sneer. Armada! He spits on the floor. But the woman turns to Uriel and bends down. And you see her trying to do something. She reaches down, places her hands on Uriel's chest, and then, with a swift motion, she plunges her hand into his chest.
Not hot about that.
Oh no, Tenebris is gonna just cry out like.
Holds it there for a second. You see blood starting to well up and then slowly be sucked back in. She pulls the hand out, holds the wound together, and with a short, harsh "Yikra!" to her colleague, she's given a small tube. She pastes it over the incision where her hand was and sits back and looks at him. Uriel's head slowly rolls to the other side and his chest starts to rise and fall again. And with that, we're out of initiative order. So both of you...
God.
He takes a sip of his drink, confident that he's just taken the weight of the world off of Bates' shoulders.
Oh my god. Oh.
That wasn't me. That was...
Tenebrous, man. Well done.
Nearly a nat 1 on the medicine check, but
that would have
killed you.
That would have killed me. Yeah.
It would have been that nobody would have seen that coming.
That's what me and Ali said. We were talking about it. If someone tried to stabilize me and rolled a nat 1, that would have been it. Yeah.
Nebris, you sat.
All that cooking my dice.
You feel
Sorry, yes.
your breath suddenly fall away as you release it for what feels like the first time in an age. You look at the floor beneath you. You hear the sounds of the birds in the trees. Then a hand falls on your shoulder. So, where are you from?
Yes, hello, sorry, hello. Thank you. Hello, thank you. Nice to meet you. Sorry, there were wolves. It is very good to, I am Tenebrous.
The woman reaches out her hand and you can see that protruding from her fingers long, thin metal spines.
Tenebrous is gonna, pull back slightly.
She looks at you again. Don't worry about this. This is how it must be. And she takes your hand. And you can feel the spines close around your wrist. They're cold. But they're also worn from long, long use. I am Emelina. You may call me.
Great name.
Emelina. Hello, Emelina.
This, she looks up, standing behind you, a large figure, swollen musculature across their arms and their chest, rough hair climbing from their neck up to their cheeks. And behind them, you see a long, thick tail raised high above their head, waving slowly.
Tail.
Have you
They
made
smile
cat
at you.
people?
Tabaxi.
Flashes of long canines. Then they turn away from you and start inspecting the bodies of the two wolves, pulling them apart, tearing the skin. Emelina turns back to you. So, we cannot stay here for long. I believe we have done you a service, but you maybe, unwittingly, you've done us a service as well. Your friends will not survive long with the big one still out there. May I suggest...
Oh no.
Oh no.
Ali, no. Oh, we've lost Ali.
We were worried about one of us rolling on their death saving throw. It was
Ooh.
Ali who did.
That's awkward.
Okay, yeah, we've lost Ali, it
Yeah.
would seem. Hey, Twitch chat, how you doing?
Hi.
I can breathe again for the first time in 2 weeks. So
The look of disappointment.
like, oh, you guys, I really thought I was going to kill one of you.
It's like we'd all turned up to a one shot and we've all decided to be like bards.
It's like, oh, really? You're just going to try and shag everything.
Come on, Shamini, coming in clutch with that roll.
My God.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Here we go.
Oh, no.
Be messed up.
Where are we?
Who's split? Yeah, who's in the wrong place?
Emily's been splinched. She's you're now in charge, Shamini.
You're the DM now. Look at me. Oh, my God.
After that display, I think you are the DM by rights.
Yeah, you control this now. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I mean, we could still die we're still unconscious, but
Also, something terrible could happen to you.
Something terrible's
leaves
going to happen.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm half expecting him to burst my door in now, and just like he comes in swinging with a bat.
You won't die in the
you were
game.
safe from me.
I've had my dice all sat on like the highest numbers for like the entire
Ready to
afternoon,
roll.
ready
I
to
feel
roll.
bad that I
Didn't even
didn't-
get to roll
I
it.
lost you the opportunity to roll. I guess that would have,
Like,
if we'd gotten that far, it would have been
Should I
pretty
roll and
desperate.
see what would have happened if it had got
'cause,
to Infinity rolling her death save?
I'll do one as well, because if I roll a 1, I die as well.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Oh, Ali
Well,
sent
while
a new
Ali's not
Zoom
here.
link. I don't
Oh,
think we
no.
can do- That's a real pain, Ali. Hang on, we're going to roll the death save.
We can. I got a 19, so I would have been all right.
I also got a 19. I also would have been
on it.
fine. Oh, I think he's back.
Right, Ali, you're going to have to change positions with everyone.
Oh my god. How and
Oh, also, your mic's doing the thing where you've gone high pitched again.
Has it? Talk, Ali?
Yeah, Ali.
No.
Can you sing some I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles for us?
Oh dear.
Yeah, you're
about that?
currently, according to my software, you are now Bates. Bates is now Shalmini, and Shalmini's Ali.
Excellent. But you're fine, I see, Simon. Sets it up so he's never in the wrong place.
Because I'm always in the top right.
And maybe he's in the top right.
That's
what you sound like.
And I rolled a net 1 on my death saving throw.
That was last week. No, it was 2
Okay.
weeks ago. Leave me alone.
So am I still the
I've been too busy on holiday to come and do the stream.
You are still the host, Ali. Yes.
cannot believe that happened.
That was quite something. Hello, viewers. This isn't going in
Imagine
the
if that had happened, though. Like,
Yeah, if that had happened earlier.
yeah.
Very, very
I
stressful.
know, my computer just decided that now was the time. Now was the time. It's over.
It knew to wait for the...
Yeah. We're really having all the technical problems today, aren't we? It's really quite fun.
So good. So good.
Okay,
Make up
how are we
for the
doing?
We now go back to
aliveness
what
of us
happened
all.
before the scenes, behind the scenes before every stream, which is now Ali having to re-drag around the order of the
Yes,
Zoom call.
yeah.
I remade it so that it didn't happen, and it worked up until Ali's computer didn't
Ali has to
anymore.
be
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
If we all...
Let me just
Cheryl,
check
you can
that-
post that freeze frame in the Discord whenever you feel like.
Make that into a meme. I want that to be the meme of like when the whole
Ali
party
being-
turns up for the one
Can you
shot
hear
and they're
that? Can
all
you hear
bars.
that? Can you hear that?
Yep.
You hear it?
Yeah.
You got it? Okay,
good.
brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, what am I doing now? I'm moving this stuff around.
Right. More cyclical iterations, please.
That.
Nothing has changed for me.
I was going to say, if we
Follow
all
my order.
Not that.
our cameras on and off again, it might...
Oh yeah.
Not that.
Would that work? If we all
We're
turn
doing
our
this
cameras
now.
off? Okay.
Oh, hello. Not that.
Why did you just say "oh hello" like that?
Right.
Simon?
Okay. So Bates and Emily now need to swap, but me and Ali.
I am
correct.
Bates and Emily,
Sorry.
so that would
That's
be
good. That's great. We're back. Sorry.
Okay, we're in.
I always assume it's like a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I am both Bates and Emily. Which is the good one though? Which is the
Yeah, which is like the normal...
I know.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, here's to the death of all of that content, which I had to make just in case, and now it doesn't matter anymore. We're
I mean,
good.
all
We're
those
good, everyone.
all those backup characters.
Well, literally just an entire. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So
Poor Ali.
So
No, not poor Ali,
For
for
the
us.
for the sake of the video and the podcast,
Jump back a bit.
I think the last thing that we heard fully was they won't last long with the big one around.
Yeah. So if
They
you could just
will not.
jump back in somewhere around there.
Yump.
And if we could all do a quick wave for editing purposes. Hi, this is where we'll start again. Great.
Tenebris, you are sat slumped on the floor of this pine forest. You're looking down at the shattered bodies of your friends, but can see that there is some life returning to them. Next to you sits a young woman. She wears binocular goggles slung around her neck. She has a long, hooked nose and a slight squint as she looks at you over the top of it. There's a smile that plays around her mouth, and you can see, sticking up from the back of her hair, 3 grey mottled feathers, slightly swaying in the wind. You also see that she's wearing an all-in-one dark suit with flaps that run from her hands down to her waist and then to her feet. Where her hands are, Thin metal spines protrude from her fingers. They're rough, well used. She looks at you. Your friends will not last long with the big one still around. Perhaps you would do best to come with us for tonight. And then you hear behind her the same old man. I get it! Nicht. He stands up, slings his rifle over his shoulder, and walks away in the direction that the large wolf ran.
Please, yes, please. We would be very appreciative of your help. We were just trying to go back to Vow, to the colony there.
You're going to Vow? What's your business there?
Well, we were trying to find work. We had some work, but it is finished now. So I guess we will leave, but maybe we will get paid. I don't know. We just would like to be, not. There has been a lot of bad things that have happened to us that we were not expecting, and then the wolves came along, and we did not know that the forest was dangerous, even though someone had maybe implied that the forest was dangerous, but we just want to be safe.
You see her lean back a little bit. A shadow passes across her face. You work for Vow. You work for the mine.
Well, briefly, there was some fossils that needed finding. It was just a one-off job, but it is done now, so if you don't like them, we won't work for them anymore.
Make a deception check.
What have I said that's not true?
The fossils.
Fossils.
Oh, yeah.
And we also still work for
Oh,
them.
yeah,
We
that is
haven't
a
been
lie.
paid.
I forgot that was a lie.
We've said it so many times.
No, but we are fossil. No, we're not fossil hunters.
We are not
Oh,
archaeologists.
shit, I remember. 8. That was an 8.
And now we do
Bad
die.
rolls now, yeah.
The woman
Well, they
leans
did.
back. She squints again at you. Then she stands. Very well. Fossil finders, is it? Perhaps I was hasty. Perhaps you have more fossils to find here. I would not want to interrupt your expedition.
Oh, please, we don't know. We are not from here. We don't understand how this works. We just... Please help us. They are injured. If you leave us, they will die.
She looks over at the large, hairy figure who's now pulling the pelts off the bodies of the wolves, tearing them off with its own strength. The tail is wrapped around the trunk of one of the tall, the smaller trees, the younger saplings, just playing with it, pulling it from side to side, and you can see the immense strength that runs through the body of this figure. It looks over at you, and again bares its long canines, and then looks towards Emelina, this young woman. Yeah. Roll a persuasion check.
Come on, charisma.
Come on. Come on, Murray.
Come on, Murray.
18.
You are not wrong. You will die. And I will not have that on my conscience. She turns to the larger one. You Jag can't get it. Figure reaches down and slings the 2 now flayed wolves over its shoulder, and then turns towards Infinity and pulls the metallic skeleton up. And you can see now that as her figure is being pulled from the ground, the shards and pieces of metal bent and twisted are flowing with it, as though connected to it by some sort of force, being dragged along the ground. It's almost like a string with tin cans attached to it, except the string's invisible, clattering together slightly as she's slung over the other shoulder of this character.
Please be careful.
Again, they bare their canines at you and start to walk off towards one of the larger trees. When they leave, they reveal behind them another figure. It's a child. Small, long blonde hair. They pull their shaggy hair out of their face and looks at you intensely. You can see that there's a diagonal scar running from her left temple all the way down to her right jawbone across her face, and she's missing her left eye. She fingers a knife gently in her hands and then uses it to brush off the spores and bits of twig and detritus from the trees from her clothes. She's wearing funny cast-off clothes, as though she's got them from a jumble sale, some too small, some too big. She looks down at Uriel. She places a hand on him and then starts to attach the rope around his waist to her waist.
It's useful rope.
The rope stays on.
We will go now.
Yes.
You can climb.
I learned very quickly, yes. I can climb trees? Or rocks? No, trees. This is a tree place. I can climb, sorry.
Good. And with that, the young woman takes off towards one of the trees. The girl, tied now to Uriel's body, bashes a switch at her hip and
Oh my god!
a balloon
Oh my god!
inflates from
What?
backpack that she's wearing, and she starts to rise into the tree cover. You look behind you for where the larger figure has gone, and you don't see them at all. They appear to have completely disappeared. And now you're alone.
I know. I'm not doing a
alone
great job of keeping an eye on you all.
in the clearing.
Christ, I'm getting left behind. Gonna freaking. Oh no, I need to plan. If there's one thing that Tenebris knows about climbing, it's that you have to plan where you're going. So I'm gonna look around all the trees and try and figure out where is the right direction, where they are, where I want to be, but also where is the place where is the easiest route.
You can see that the girl is rising up basically vertically into the canopy, and you can just see that there's some sort of thrust that's directing her slightly as she floats up between the branches. You've lost sight of the larger muscular figure. You don't know where the older character with the gun has gone, but you do need to make a perception check.
He's there just tearing apart Infinity.
It's still dark here,
parts,
right?
just
Yeah.
Yes, you're in the shadows of the trees. It's not
8.
daylight. 8. You see the flash of some darker material skirting its way around one of the larger trees. But apart from that, suddenly there's nothing.
Wait, where did Emelina go? Emelina...
She disappeared
This bit as
towards
well.
one of the trees. And
Was there 4 figures
you
in
have
total?
not been able to see where she's gone.
There was Emelina, the big guy, the child, and this other woman. Was that right? 4.
There's Emelina, who's the young woman.
Yeah.
There's the child, who's the girl. There's the big figure, and there's an old man who has disappeared before.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. She told me to climb.
Right things.
I'm gonna freaking climb. Does that make sense? They came from up. The little girl has gone up. I feel like they must have a secret house in the sky. That's what I feel like. I'm gonna pick the best looking tree and madly panicked fast speed climb. Oh god. And until I get a little way up, at which point I'm gonna remember that climbing leads to falling, leads to dying, and then I'm gonna slow down and
Leads
go
to the dark side.
Well, make an investigation roll for the best tree, and then make an athletics check.
My investigation roll is 14. Not too
Best
bad.
tree.
Sorry, acrobatics or athletics?
Athletics.
That's fair. It's climbing. Ooh, I'm glad I rolled well on that 16. I have a negative athletics modifier. Ooh.
You scan the trees around you. Some of them are younger, and they seem to have bolted up into the canopy as fast as they can. Their trunks, although very broad, don't have branches coming off them at this level, but some of them are much older, gnarled giants from some older time, and you can see that they do have gnarls and knobbles sticking off them, and even smaller branches. You go for one of these, and you pull yourself up, and it's almost like you're back underground when you would enter a large cave and have to climb down to reach where you wanted to go. It's not that different. And in the darkness of the shadows of the trees, you let your muscle memory take control. You feel the bark scraping against your skin, and you can smell a very strong odour of pine. And you feel the breeze, you hear the chirrup of small birds as you climb and climb and climb.
Nebris is gonna just mutter to herself as she's climbing, "We're fine. It's just like big, smelly rock. We will be okay now."
This was happening during the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it evening or morning?
It's
morning. We woke up at the pond and then walked for a while.
Walked for quite a while though, I thought.
Lunchtime. Afternoon.
it's the early afternoon.
Early afternoon. Yeah.
But it is also cloudy.
Yeah.
You climb and climb. As you get higher and higher, more and more light starts to filter through. And you realise that as you go further and further into the canopy, you're starting to reach the highest layers. You start to feel a fresher, cooler air on your cheeks. That strong, almost burning, piney scent makes way for a more delicate scent of flowers. And suddenly, your head pokes up over the top of the tree line, and you see a sea of branches rippling in the winds. Your eyes are burned suddenly by the brightness of the sun.
No, DnDebrief.
There's not much here between you and the sky. Just the crowns of the old forest giants that surface from the sea like rocks.
There are giants in the sky. Sorry. Little musical theatre joke there for everyone.
I thought you'd go for Come From Away.
It was in my head, but I haven't seen it, so I'm not.
Up here, there's more movement than there was on the forest floor. You can see murmurations of swallows circling and moving and rippling across the canopy of the trees. You can hear the sounds of scurrying, little animals moving along the branches, and then you feel a warm touch of fur, a moment, and you see a pine marten run over your hand and disappear. skittering away.
Not that noise.
Not,
Like,
but not like that. More like
like a little mouse. It's like a freaking pine martin. Bloody hell. Okay.
And now, make another perception check with disadvantage because you're in bright daylight.
Oh boy, it is very bright. I don't like the bright.
While she does that, can I just say how much murmuration is just a great word?
Oh, it's wonderful.
16.
With disadvantage.
With disadvantage, roll a 14 and a 15 on the dice.
Wow. Squinting with your goggles pressed over your eyes, and I imagine your hands over your goggles just to cut out as much light as possible. You scan around. The first thing you see is a small circular object floating just above the canopy, moving very slowly across your field of vision.
She's a
It's not
human
far
hot air
away.
balloon.
Aunt Marge? What was the one from Prisoner of Azkaban?
Oh yeah. Where she like goes.
Oh man.
Which was
Thought you
all
were gonna say
practical
Charlie and the
effects.
Chocolate
That was practical effects, not VFX.
Well, even when she floated away at the end.
Yeah, like it was a huge.
No.
There was a suit that they had airbags built into that they inflated.
What? And they actually flew her up.
Yeah, on a wire. Like
Yeah.
they didn't fill it with helium.
Sure.
On top of that,
Sorry.
look closer. Underneath this floating object, you see a flicker of movement. And it looks like something leaping from tree to tree, from branch to branch. And then following that, something too fast for you almost to see,
We're excited about this.
glides down through the canopy and disappears again.
Best NPCs I've ever met. Goddamn.
Infinity would
so
just be
cool.
having a field day if she was
no,
awake right now.
Infinity, you're missing everything. I met a pine martin.
A pine martin. Do you know
my
how
gosh.
much she'd love to be a pine martin?
Oh. Okay. I am looking for climbing routes that are towards them. How far do these branches go out? Can I get from one tree to another?
The branches are thick, you know. I mean, they're almost like you could easily walk on them.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm gonna look for one that seems to. So there, there's a direction. I know I kind of know where I'm going. I try not to fall off and die. I'm gonna look for a branch that heads in that direction, heads towards a branch from another tree, and carefully walk across it.
You walk along this thick branch. It's maybe 1 meter, 2 meters wide. You're not even really worried about falling.
Wow.
You would fall, you would catch yourself. The wrinkled bark of the tree is so deep that you're almost worried that your foot's going to catch in it. As you walk towards the end of this branch out, you get further and further over the top of this canopy sea, and you realise that the tree that you've chosen, this gnarled old giant, is one of the older trees in the forest, one of the rocks that breaks the surface. And as you reach the end of the branch, you see, attached to where the branch starts to narrow, a rope.
I like this place.
The rope stretches out from this taller tree, and you see it stretch and stretch and stretch until it reaches another tree, maybe 100 meters away, another tree that breaks the canopy.
Oh no! Wait, it's a single strand of rope going across a huge distance. Is that what you're saying?
Ali,
That is what I'm
we
saying.
need to talk about how you're saying the word canopy.
What's wrong with the word canopy?
He's saying canapé.
Canopy.
as in you serve in between the reception and the wedding.
Bates and I have locked eyes and tried not to laugh several times now.
I thought it was something dirty. I'm really pleased
what
that it's
I
like a
thought.
wholesome thing. That's really
Because we
sweet.
both
Delicious,
like, he's like,
wholesome canopy thing.
Canopy.
you're just on a big tray of food.
This is
yeah.
Exeter
Love
RPG.
I'm not going to change the way I say canopy.
No, but that's correct.
right in
You
the
just
middle.
said canopy then.
You said canopy. That's correct.
I won't change that. You'll hear that every time. Yeah.
Or will he?
This rope stretches out in front of you across the canopy. That was canopy.
Shut up. Right.
That was fine though.
It's a single rope.
Single thick rope.
How thick? Like this thick? Or this thick?
I like.
Wait, this is great for a podcast. Is it a meter wide rope?
No, it's about 10
it's
centimeters.
not, is
the
it?
sort of
10
rope that you
meters.
might.
A meter wide.
Well, I was being optimistic, okay?
That's
Space
true.
rope. It's normal
It's
rope.
And these are like these few infrequent trees that burst up from the canopy. When if I look down below me and when I was climbing through the main branchy bits of the trees, I just picked the wrong fucking tree. Like, could I have gotten from smaller tree to smaller tree? Yeah. Is there another way? Just with branches that are actually touching and not a rope.
Looking down,
Yeah.
you can see that there are no other trees which have this kind of level of where the branches you could walk on are stable,
Yeah.
but that would
actually close enough
touch each other
together.
that you could walk between.
Tenebris fell once. Tenebris does not want to fall.
As you're thinking, you still see this floating little ball that's maybe 200 meters away from you.
I am. God. Christ. I'm going to yell. Wait! Please! Hello?
Okay. Roll a
Someone.
persuasion check. Over this distance, and the wind is behind you. You hope that maybe your voice will carry.
Persuasion? With disadvantage?
Persuasion.
Or just a high DC?
No,
Sorry, you were
just
saying
persuasion.
about the wind being all windy.
No, as in the wind is carrying your
It's
voice.
helping. Oh, great. 17. I thought the wind was unhelping.
You wait for a second, and you think they've not heard you. Whatever that thing is, and you think you know what it is, that's not going to be your way out. And then you see it slowly come to a halt. And then it starts to pivot, and as it turns, you see come into profile the hanging body of what looks like Uriel. And then, very slowly, this balloon comes closer and closer. And you must be standing there for about half an hour as this balloon...
No. Oh, that's awkward.
It's not an efficient form of travel.
No.
Wow. I thought she was pulling it.
Until eventually, the girl carrying Uriel, attached to him by his rope, hoves into view, just swaying ever so slightly in the breeze and frowning a little bit at you. And you hear her shout from about 10 meters away,
So awkward.
"Can I see the rope?"
Hi! Do you have, like, carabiner or extra rope and then you tie? You know, when you're climbing, you tie, and then if you fall because you have weak arms, you don't die. You know that thing?
"Yes, I have."
Bitch.
Bitch.
Who is Emelina based on?
This is the little girl. This is little
Oh, it's the
blondie,
little
isn't
girl.
it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This
of
is
course,
this
it's
is young
Leo.
Emily Bates.
Bates Balloonates. No, that doesn't work.
I'm going to. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to say. Oh, no, I'm not going to say. I'm just going to say you don't have spare rope? Extra rope? I'm going to smile really encouragingly
And very slowly, she floats over towards you, and then a piece of rope
Uriel.
lands
Yeah. Here you
next to
go.
your feet.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will owe you. I will do jobs for you. If you want anything doing, you are the best. My favorite. And
Yes, thank me later. And off she starts to float, sort of wobbling away into
I will-
Walking pace.
I'll find you later for more thanks. Whew, okay, in which case I'm going to tie the rope around my belt loops and this rope as securely as I can, also with the knowledge that I'm going to have to be undoing and retying this rope repeatedly as we go across, as we move.
With that, and knowing that all you're doing is moving yourself along this rope, we'll say that with a bit of time and some rest breaks, you make it to the next tree. And when you arrive, you see the same sort of setup. It's one of these ancient old trees with the thick branches sticking out. You move to the center, and when you reach the trunk, you can see that there's been a walkway cut into the side, a notch that moves around the side of the trunk, and you follow it round and you see another branch. Reaching the end of that, another rope, and this one more worn, in fact, as though feet have trodden this path before. As you climb along this next rope, it takes you towards a cluster of these giant trees, like an island, a grove rising out of the tops of the canopy. And as you get closer and closer, you see little flashes of colour hanging from the trees, almost like baubles. And eventually, you reach the branch of one of these island grove trees, and you walk inside. You look up, and hidden slightly from view by the leaves around them, hanging from the interior branches, you see what look like spherical tents, circular, hanging down, tied to the branches, just bobbing ever so slightly.
That's amazing.
And you hear the sound of voices. You know, I just don't speak your silly hunting language. What is it that you want from me? I need food. You owe me food. I'm not going to give you any food. And these conversations you hear more and more coming from below, from above you, from around you. What would you like to do?
I'd like to follow the sounds of voices and peek and see if any of them are coming from anyone that I recognize.
You walk along the branch deeper into this grove. You skirt round the edge of the trunk and you look in towards the center. And there, hanging between the different branches of the trees, are walkways. Wooden bridges strung from between different sections. And right in the middle, some sort of machine, almost like you might imagine a trailer, but a trailer that's been decked up and attached with massive hooks and is hanging from 4 chains in the center of this grove. And from it you hear smoke rising just a little bit out of the chimney. And there are people walking around you. Along these walkways there are wooden deckings, platforms that have been built into the sides of the trees, and people passing you, and you realise this isn't an empty place. This is almost like a little village. There are people everywhere. You see a girl sat on one of these platforms, just playing with a little compass, which she's trying to mend. You see her ragged boots, but you also see her strong hands and wide shoulders. You look up and you see a woman talking to two children, telling them off as they run down one of the thinner parts of the branches in the tree line. To your right, you see a man working on something, and then next to him, you see an older figure. You can't tell whether they're man or woman, and they're working with a big sack of different objects, setting them out on a carpet on one of these tree branches. And as you're watching, you hear... You look behind you, and you see, attached to the side of the trunk, by her 4 claws, Emelina. She climbs her way down onto your branch and pulls back her hood, which has been covering her hair, and carefully reinserts the 3 feathers back into her hair. So I see you made it. She gives a little half smile.
Thank you.
Your friends have been taken somewhere safe.
You have doctors? Hospital?
No, there can't be... There's no need for doctors now. They will just have to sleep that off, I'm afraid.
But you think they will be okay, right? Because you fix the things and you put your hand inside and that usually works.
She shrugs.
Don't you... Oh.
And then she pats you on the shoulder. And she sits down. Come, sit.
Okay. We're sitting.
Now, we have time, no? While your friends, they sleep?
I'm just still bleeding from a wolf bite. I'm not a medical expert, but I'm pretty sure this is an optimistic care strategy.
She made the blood suck back into you.
That was cool.
Somehow. That was cool. I'm gonna get to that
Infinity's
later.
defragging. I know how computers work.
There's someone up to press Control Shift Escape. They're like, right, we've got some processes here we've got to get rid of.
End process.
She just blue. Wait, if Infinity dies, does she just blue screen? Like,
should. I mean, she doesn't die though, so let's stop.
And she just has like a sad face.
Things.
No, we won't.
Won't. No.
No, wait, no, we won't.
We won't find out. Thanks.
Oh, no.
No, we won't. God, no, that was for if the worst happened. No, that's a different line. I just read from the wrong script. Sorry.
Turn her off and on again. Just
tell me.
Okay.
Why are you here? And you feel, from the hand on your shoulder, a slight pressure as the needle-like claws dig into your shoulder.
Why are we coming here or going to mine or going to forest? This very long story. Why am I here on Braxigantu? There are many questions.
Well, we have a lot of time, so please, enlighten me.
Okay. My name is Tenebris. I said that already. Okay. I came from Vespa. Do you know Vespa at all? That's where I'm from.
She shakes her head.
Know that? Okay. No one knows that here. It is very far away. It is very nice if you want to visit. There is much less sun and weather. It is very nice. And then I needed a job. And you know Gunka, Floating City?
You see her brow furrow for a second. She nods.
Floaters, something floaters. I can't remember. I got job there. That was good. And then I left that job and I thought, Vow job. So I came to Vow on shuttle. Shuttle to
Perhaps, maybe not the whole story. Perhaps you can tell me.
You did?
Yeah, you said from. Okay, which?
Perhaps
Sorry.
you can tell me maybe about the reason you are working with the Vow people.
Okay. Well, we came to Vow to find work, and I met that is Uriel is squishy one, and Infinity is
Pretty squishy too, but looks.
brittle one. And then there was a very nice lady called Sandy who we like very much. Okay, this is too much detail again. Sorry. There was another person, and they said you will do job for me. And then if we did job for her, then I think we get paid, and then we had to leave. And she said, go to mine and do this job. Here are instructions. So we said, okay.
Roll an insight check.
Let's go, Tenebris.
Let's go!
Let's go!
8.
Let's go!
Let's go! Let's leave. Let's get out of here.
You are unnerved by this situation, and you're concentrating very hard on not lying to this woman.
Yes, I am. Thank you for noticing, Ali.
So hard that
Sweating.
aren't focused on her really at all. You're just trying to keep yourself under control.
Not in
and
trouble.
Maybe it's worked.
I'm choosing to imagine that, like, as we cut between the cat person and 10, it's like that scene in Airplane where the sweat keeps getting more and more. It's like initially just a few beads and it's just like pouring off of her face. And then we look for fossils.
Emmeline is not a cat person. Emmeline is a sugar glider.
Oh, apologies.
Sugar glider.
Like a little flying squirrel.
Oh, yeah.
Is the webbing biological though, or is it added after the fact?
It's still basically a flying squirrel.
So-
And I freaking
Yeah,
love
but I
it.
mean, a sugar
As
glider
you
is a
are
hamster with a paraglider.
Sat there.
Yeah.
So cute.
As you are sat there, Emelina turns to you, and she looks at you over the top of her nose. Her eyes, her right eye, ever so slightly just losing focus and pushing its way to the right side of her socket. And her face goes suddenly serious, more serious than you've seen it to this point. So, what was this job?
You weren't supposed to tell anyone? I don't want to get in trouble.
You don't want to get in trouble.
Oh, okay, but please don't tell. If I will tell you, please, but don't tell. You know, our boss, because then we might not get paid. And I want to get paid. Job is good. I'm just here for job. I'm sorry.
She stares at you, waiting.
Oh no. Okay, I will tell everything. Because, please. Okay, so she said smuggling. There was smuggling, but it had to be secret because she was not allowed to investigate smuggling, because maybe smuggling was. It was Ranak. Ranak was doing the smuggling, but she didn't want people to know that she was investigating the smuggling. So we pretended, we will go and dig for fossils. And then we thought we found the smuggling, but then it wasn't smuggling, and there was a giant wall of light, and then Ranak was doing something, and then the person came back to life, and then tried to kill us, and then the wall exploded, and then we had to run, and then we were falling, and then it was very cold, and then we were in the water, and then there was fish people, and the fish people saved us, I think. And then there was waterfall, and it was all the water here on your planet is very cold, very, very cold. You should not. You need to have warmer water. And then we were in wood, waterfall in wood. And the wall exploded, and the Ramnek exploded. So, no more smuggling. Is that okay?
An unusual story.
It is true, please. I don't lie to you because, you have my friends, and I don't want to die. And you're very nice person, also probably.
I think no one would make up such a story. Very well. Let us wait for your companions to recover, and then perhaps we will talk some more, yes?
Yes. Please, may I see them?
They will come to you. And with that, she leans backwards and topples off the back of the branch. And
She's so fucking cool! I cannot!
Boring conversation anyway.
This woman.
away
Emelina.
across the grove.
Tenebris is gonna come around and hands and knees, looking over there, just oh.
Considering our care strategy is we'll sleep off these wolf bites, I think you may be waiting for a few weeks.
No. How D&D works, Simon, and you know.
One good 8-hour sleep and I'm right as rain.
Good to go. On that, are we short resting, long resting? What's the...
Uriel. The strange tides that you saw and you felt when last you rested are back. But now, instead of the water lapping from the sea around your feet, it's a deep, deep ocean carrying you to strange places in strange directions, deeper down. The ones and zeros and the numbers enwrap you in ways you've never experienced, but not in ways that you expected. You feel intense emotion. And then it passes. And again, you're back to a blank slate. And with that, you take one deep, shuddering breath. And you open your eyes.
Trees!
Amazing.
Where the hell am I?
You see around you no trees, in fact. You see...
Uriel's not 100% on what a tree is and isn't.
Thing I don't recognise. Tree.
He's never seen a wolf before.
You've been in a forest for the last few hours and you're like, what could a tree be?
Oh, no. The subset of trees includes some of these objects.
What you see is a yellow, what looks like canvas or cloth material all the way around you. And it's warm where you are. You can smell that smell again, the smell of the pine, but it's intermingled with other smells that you recognize. The smell of burning meat. The smell of chemical reactions, which you'd not smelt for a long time, at least many days. But you are lying on a netting floor in a spherical, what seems like a canvas sphere, and you can feel the heat of the sun just starting to disappear. As in, you can feel yourself cooling down. So the sun must have gone. You look next to you, and there, weighing down the netting beside you, is the body of Infinity. There are jagged claw marks across her screens. There's no light coming out of her. It's the first time that you've seen her completely dark. Her antenna is bent slightly, but her eyes are clear and smooth.
Infinity? You're like... It's stupid, like, expecting it to be warm, but, like, kind of touching and be like... What happened? I go over and, like, try and take the antenna and move it back to its original configuration.
Make a medicine check.
Nat 1, baby, here we go. Actually, why would I say that?
Was that a joke?
Hang on.
It's a bad joke.
It was a 3.
Infinity dies.
Snap! Oh no!
Oh, wait, don't. Ali could actually do that, so let's not joke about it.
It goes up to a 4 actually with my modifier. Sorry, just to
All the difference.
Okay, that does make a difference. You turn it,
Thank fuck.
and then you try and force it into the shape that it once was. Pushing it.
When you hit an old telly and you're like, work!
get better now.
But it doesn't budge. Uriel, can I ask you... I want to ask you if you feel anything.
Right now, Uriel is afraid more than anything else. This is not not the way that things were supposed to be. This is a new environment, and he's starting to question if this is the overall mission he is here for is what he wants to do. But that is the main thing that he's feeling is fear, and especially he's not interrogating it, but he's sort of surprised that he is afraid for Infinity, that something's happened to her, which is a feeling he's very unfamiliar with.
Infinity. You've slipped into complete blackness. You feel nothing, you sense nothing. Until you hear a voice, but it's more as though you're feeling a need to respond, as though something is reaching into you and pulling you out of whatever you're in, as though there's a part of you that needs to respond to this cue. You hear it, and slowly it starts to pull your various systems back online. You start to sense underneath your fingers the rough rope of a net. Your eyes open and you feel the yellow wash of the light across you, and still you hear that pleading, and you're awake.
I think the minute she wakes up, she remembers where she was, and she just immediately is Uriel and like almost casts Cure Wounds just like out in front of her, just desperate to like help.
Do you cast Cure Wounds?
Yeah. On like whatever is she would just reach out.
It's the moment before you went down.
Yeah, that was what she was.
That's what you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Infinity have eyelids?
No, I don't.
Like not
think
in,
she does.
but not like what are they called in
Not
cats? Like nictating membranes.
What's that way?
Like it's is it
like
just a
lizards.
screen?
I don't
Ali said that their eyes were just like clear.
I know. I think there are
just.
there's like she
lights.
sees through them, but I don't think there are any like I think to clean them she'd have to get a little cloth out, like a lens on your camera lens.
Cleaner,
Yeah, lens cleaner.
And so you cast Cure Wounds. How much? How many hit points?
Oh yeah, you could actually roll it, couldn't I? That's the thing I could do. Sorry.
The dice-based game.
I remember. I never thought I was playing this character again. 6 hit points.
That's good because this does not count as a long rest, nor does it count as a short rest. This is simply coming back up from being stabilized.
Super
so
unlucky.
you have 1 hit point. Each,
I'm casting it.
So unlucky.
Ow. So
Uriel now has.
If Uriel is there, he'll.
7 hit points, baby.
So I've got 1, so I can bring myself back with 1.
You have 1. You're not in a good shape, but you are conscious.
Great. That's all I need.
You don't get any of the benefits of a long rest either.
That's fine. Yeah. Uriel.
Oh, it worked.
What? Where's Tenebris?
I don't know. I just woke up. Where the hell are we?
I have no idea. I'm immediately gonna start looking for Tenebris. Like, so we're in like a pod.
You're in a sort of spherical bag.
So we like pressed up against each other,
We're in a bag of holding. I knew it would end this way.
or like, are we?
It's got a flat floor inside the sphere.
It has a
fine.
netted floor, so the floor does slightly bow, so you've rolled together. But the space is roughly 2 meters wide, I would have said, diameter.
Can I see if there's like an opening anywhere?
Yes. So one of the sides of this ball, so it's almost like a teardrop now, slightly because of the weight inside it, has a zip running vertically down it.
Great. Would Infinity know what a zip is? I don't think she's not stupid. She understands what a zip is. She unzips the balloon bag thing, and I'm going to put my head out.
You look out and you see a grove of trees around you. You're within the boughs of these huge ancient trees, gnarled. You see the bark, you see the colours, browns, greens, dark yellows of the old wood starting to rot in places. You catch glimpses of the tiny whites of petals of flowers nestled among the pine needles. And all of this is bathed in an orange-yellow light as the sun starts to set on this day. You also see movement. People moving along rope bridges slung between the trees. And right in front of you, you can see that there is this, we'll call it a tent for want of anything else, has been slung from a branch. It's hanging beneath it, but there's a rope ladder which you could use to climb up to the branch that it's hanging from.
So it's sort of like connected to where we are. Is the sort of idea.
So there's a rope ladder coming down from a main branch, and both the rope ladder is hanging off the branch and this ball tent is hanging off the same branch.
I think for a minute Infinity just stops and like looks out and is just overwhelmed by where she is and the nature, and it makes her feel all the things, and she is in such a weird state because she was so scared and so angry at herself for a little bit, and and then she'll Uriel,
Where are we?
look, we're in the sky.
Yeah. They're a very big zip.
Look, it opens more. This is how I've never used one before. Isn't it fun?
Getting a little bit to Ace Ventura.
This is the tops of trees then.
Yeah, aren't they beautiful?
Right. Where's Tenebris?
Oh yes, Tenebris. I don't know. Tenebris.
Yodeling.
You're just gonna shout, or project, or turn her volume up slightly as she cries out.
Nothing, no response. Okay. And then Maybe 5 seconds later, a face appears upside down, looking, lowering itself down in front of you.
Hello.
It's hair. You see hair pulling away from its face, almost rising from its neck up to its chin, and it's almost as though the face itself has a slightly protruding jaw and mouth section, and it smiles, a wide, toothy grin, and big canines looking at you. Come.
Oh, do you have Tenebris?
The face disappears back up to the branch.
Right, come on. And she's going to grab Uriel's hand and, like, just drag him up, but not let go.
I'm okay with this.
Both of you pull yourself up the rope ladder until you climb.
That's quite hard, actually, isn't it? Holding on to someone with climbing a rope ladder with one hand, being like, So maybe she lets go for a little bit to climb the ladder.
Yes, Uriel, you fall, I suppose.
Yeah, Uriel's dead. That's
You both climb up this rope ladder and reach the top of this branch, and now you're standing there next to a massive muscular figure, again with this brown hair like all over them and a huge long tail behind them. They look back at you, and then they wag their head in a direction, and they leap from the branch. And then you see their tail wrap round a smaller branch, and they swing across a space where there's a rope bridge, landing on one of the larger branches on the other side.
Oh,
that's pretty useful.
that was very good. Do you think you could do that, Uriel? Does it look like we could jump?
There's a rope bridge. There
is actually the rope bridge. Right, got you.
But they've not used it this week.
I will use the rope bridge.
Just see Infinity being like, I want you to do that. And I was like,
I
no,
could do it.
Don't have a prehensile tail. Stop it.
Here we go.
Also, her on 1 hit point. Like, a stiff breeze will knock her down again. Okay,
yeah.
Follow this
rope bridge.
figure.
Go ape.
You walking along the rope bridge, and as you're walking, you both start to hear the sound of talking, the bustle and chatter of a little settlement. You hear people bartering, some people just talking, exchanging, conversing. You look around you and you see the flash of faces of people dressed, but everyone seems to be wearing clothes that fit in with the colour of the environment, some almost camouflaged. No one seems to be wearing flashy clothes that might stand out. You walk and you walk and you follow this figure, and as the sun sets over the top of the trees, you see Tenebris. Now, before you meet her, Tenebris, have you done anything in the last, while we've been waiting here? I just sort of assumed you sat.
If no one has been around, she will pull out the pieces of paper and pen from her pockets and be scribbling tiny notes, but sort of just keeping an eye out for people who are scary.
Right, so should we call that we'll call it a short rest? If you want.
I get a short rest.
The sun.
You got your wounds. Be grateful.
We'll call that a short rest, that's what I think. Yes, please, thank you.
Okay. You see Tenebris sat scribbling away at pieces of paper all strewn around her.
Run, jump, hug.
Knocks her off of the platform.
Tenebris, I'm so sorry. Uriel, I'm sorry. I didn't do what I was meant to do. I was meant to protect you and I didn't, and I'm sorry.
You're alive!
Yes, no, I'm fine. But you too.
I'm alive! Uriel, are you alive?
Yeah, last I checked, still alive.
God. We're all alive! Infinity, no, don't. It's Infinity. I'm gonna like pat her head and then the shoulders and just be like, no, Infinity.
Don't hit her too hard. If it can be construed as a slap, she will go down.
Yeah. I love you.
She goes totally blue, keels over at the feet.
I'm sorry. I completely failed you both. Uriel, I should have healed you. I didn't. I'm sorry. And Tenebris, I should have been looking out for the wolves, and I didn't. I was just so excited to be in a forest and see trees, and then I'm so sorry.
Well, in your defense, it wasn't really you that knocked us down, it was the wolves. So we're kind of all really, none of us defended all of us. So
when I saw them, I thought they were wonderful.
And one of them ate my face.
Exactly. It looks quite good now, really. Just sort of tap it. Like, amazing that you got munched on by a wolf and you're already walking around.
Horrifically disfigured.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out that they preferred to taste the organic bits to the metal bits, which is a bit of a weakness, really. Quite like to fix that.
You say that, but I'm all non-organic, and they didn't touch Tenebris, so maybe it was the metal bits.
I think they were just very bitey. They like to bite. They didn't notice that you are not maybe tasty, or maybe they like eating metal. You're right, but Infinity, don't be sad, okay? Well, you have to be, well, don't be happy either, I guess. Just, it's okay. Don't worry.
It's a thing that happened. It's in the training set now. We'll improve for next time.
Yes, I will kill all wolves the minute I see them.
That wasn't quite a conclusion I took, but I can understand you coming to that conclusion.
They are dangerous. They shouldn't have been allowed. I'm sorry if anything I did ever allowed them to be on this planet, but it's fine. I will stop them.
Oh dear. Okay, if you want to exterminate all wolves from the planet,
they're dangerous.
We'll leave that. Maybe that's a future option for us. Maybe that's something we can come back to if we.
They got something of a reputation for it, to be fair. I mean, I've never seen a wolf before. I always thought they'd be sort of bigger and have more legs. But
one of them was very big.
They got the reputation. You've got to be fair, Tenebris, for being awful.
We've got bigger problems right now, okay?
Yes, where are we?
Okay, so...
Are there any wolves here?
I don't think they can climb, so probably not.
Okay.
They can't climb.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they can climb. I don't know. Listen, okay, before they come back. There were people in the woods, and they saved you, and otherwise we would be dead. But now we are all here, and if we annoy anyone, maybe we're still dead. I don't really know. I don't know what they want. That's a very nice, scary lady called Emelina. And she said, "What are you doing here? What is your job? Tell me everything, the job." And she has claws. And she's cool and she can fly. And I told her, the secret job. I told her it was a secret, don't worry. But
Yes, the smuggling. Well, we stopped that, so it should be fine.
Well, I feel like we've done the job. Yeah, maybe it's fine.
We're still going to be paid for the job, so the contract's still active.
Well, I hope so, but I think maybe she doesn't like the mine, so maybe she's really angry that we help the mine.
Well, maybe she'd have a job. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like I haven't quite... It depends on what happens in Val, but I don't know if we've got enough money to get off of this rock yet.
Also, maybe even if she doesn't have job, maybe we have to help because, they save us and bring us here, and so we do whatever they say, okay?
Oh.
Well, yeah, I mean, we kind of got to do whatever they say at the moment because they could throw us off of one of these trees.
That is very much what I was thinking.
Right.
Is this still called a tree when it's this big?
Yes.
Right.
This is a tree.
So
we're not in a tree right now. We're in a tent, Tenebris?
No,
is that the right word?
No, this is branch.
Oh, a branch. Sorry, I do know what a branch is.
You got out of the tent.
I got out of the tent. Yep, okay, I remember now.
So is branch a kind of tree?
Yeah.
It's a part of a tree.
Is it like the main branch?
It's like you have an arm, a tree has a branch.
Right.
It's like the gills,
Oh,
No, it's not like the gills.
Like of a mushroom gills.
So it's the CO2 exchange.
I do know what. No, that's the leaves.
Right. What are leaves?
This. I'll pluck a leaf and give it to him.
Right.
That is what makes the spores, so it can reproduce.
No, trees don't have spores.
How will they reproduce if they don't
have-
have spores?
They have seeds.
What is seeds? A kind of spore,
Do
right?
any of the trees have seeds?
Oh no.
Welcome to
You can
tree biology lessons with
Infinity about botany. Oh no, we've made a mistake.
Oh god, Emily's
can
botany
see-
is medium.
pine cones hanging from some of the branches, but they're surprisingly small. Smaller even than normal pine cones. They're little tiny mini pine cones.
Okay, she will grab a pine cone.
No,
And,
break
um,
their house. Don't break. Sorry.
No, it's fine. They'll grow another one and try and like peel back. So because they have pine cones hold the seeds. Am I right in saying they hold the seeds inside the pine cone?
Right, saying that. But
Yeah, that's
if it's closed, if it's young.
Oh,
And it also depends on the humidity.
try and
Because pine cones close up in dry conditions, and then they. I think it's that way around, and then they open up in moist conditions.
Can Infinity try and druidcraft to make the pine cone open?
That's a good use of druidcraft.
Absolutely, yes. You sprinkle some
Damp, make
plant
make it-
hormones
yeah.
over the pine cone, and it opens up. It unfurls like a flower.
See?
So this is like the tree egg.
Spore.
Egg spore. Yes, in a way.
Baby
These are
tree.
seeds. Baby trees.
Right.
And I'll take one tiny little seed out and give it to each of them. There you go. Then I'll hold the pine cone.
I will plant this later.
Yeah.
Put the seed in my pocket.
So we're in a tree. They're in a tree. Where, how many people are even here? I'm just trying out the new words as I learn them.
There seems to be quite a lot. Where exactly do we know where Vow is from here?
I didn't ask.
Can I do
Emelina.
my trying to
Oh, you're getting
use the
sat-nav.
mountains and sat nav and 3D?
I rolled to
Map
beat
again.
boop.
I would like to beat boop. Beep, boop, beep.
Yeah, you roll a survival check, but do know that the sun has basically set. It's getting darker now. It's twilight, and you are in a grove. It's not like you can really see.
Any stars in the sky?
You could wait a little longer, and the stars would come out. Yes, you can see a couple.
I'll try now and then maybe wait.
But let's say that this roll counts for that. You wait
cool.
a few minutes and
I rolled a 19 plus 6 is a 25
on survival.
on survival.
Who has
I am-
plus 6 survival?
Someone who had to fly through space to get to where they wanted to go was the thought process behind that.
Nailed it. Now you've not. You don't have the maps of the stars, which you remember you had when you came. But the first night that you were in Val, you did look up at the stars and imprinted that on your mind. And now, a few days later, in somewhere slightly different, you look up again and you see the same waypoints, but ever so slightly changed. You compare the two, you calculate, you work out where you are. You're
We've not really moved
far.
very much.
On a planetary scale, no.
From Val. You've been walking in the right direction. Clearly the amount that you'd walked had brought you close. But you're maybe 5 or 10, maybe 5 miles away.
Oh, we're closer than we were.
Wait, in this universe, are we using the Imperial system?
D&D
You know
does, so
you're
yeah.
5 miles away, but you don't know what those things mean. You know that whatever it is, whatever
We're
that
about
unit is,
36,000 barleycorns away from the...
Barleycorns.
classic unit of imperial measure.
Well, I think I think the inch is 3 barleycorns laid end
Is
to
that
end.
really? Is that true? That's
think
amazing
so.
fact.
So
If true,
plausible. I hope that's true.
that's great fact. if
Incredibly
true.
plausible, yeah.
Yeah.
We're closer than we were. It wouldn't take too long to get back to Bona. Yes, Uriel?
Sorry, this is related. This is the chat of opportunity continuing.
It was Simon raising his hand, not
Simon just
Uriel.
put his hand up.
Oh, pick me, miss!
Uriel's been like, Infinity, I have a question.
Chat of opportunity, go.
The barleycorn is a unit of length that is in the Imperial system.
How long is it?
And it is
And how long is
a third of an inch, or 8.47 millimeters, and it is still used as the basis of shoe sizes.
So a little bit less. Wait, shoe sizes. So is that like a 37?
That's the number. That's the stupid shoe number.
I think so, yeah.
No.
So
Wait,
6.5.
37 would be-
6.5. How many barleycorns is that?
But like, I'm not sure if that's because obviously that it says in English-speaking countries, so I'm not sure if that's England
I'm just gonna
America.
jump in here and I'm saying, let's save this.
Sorry.
5 minutes.
Sorry, sir.
And let's do this.
Sorry, sir.
I know we could do it, but we've only got 5 minutes, so let's just.
Okay.
Infinity. As you look up to the sky and calculate where you are, you also look around you, and you see lights flickering on in the trees around you, small lights, headlights, some larger. And looking into the centre of this grove of trees, you see the same thing that Tenebris you saw much earlier. This large trailer-shaped well, it looks like a trailer, but with covered in sort of strange mechanical bits and bobs, and just rolling away, some sort of engine in the hung between the central trees, and ejecting smoke slightly out. And what you see, you sense it more than see it, really, is that the lights are all starting to flow in a direction. Maybe not all of them, but a few of them. They're starting to flow towards this machine. And others are starting to flow upwards, up the trunks of the trees.
Oh. What? Sorry, when you say lights,
These
lights that
they're like electric lights, as though like for head torches or torches. Or...
people probably wearing some kind of lamp. Like, everyone seems to be going to that. Uriel, that isn't a part of a tree. Not that I'm aware of, anyway.
Right. What is it?
A trailer? We've seen a trailer before. We were in.
I've seen movies. Yes.
Uriel. Infinity just slowly shakes her head. And there would be movies in this universe, so we could technically talk about movies. Anyway.
In-flight entertainment between planets would have to be immense in order to fill that time.
Yeah. Yes, that's not part of a tree, so... And everyone seems to be moving, well, towards it. Should we go there?
Well,
or should we go the other way and leave?
They might... If we leave, I'm scared that wolves will kill you.
Well, and also,
clarify.
I'm pretty sure they could find us.
Let me clarify. Some of the lights are headed towards this thing, this trailer, and some of them are headed up different trees, so up the trunks.
They're just generally going upwards.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, okay. Sorry,
If we tried to leave, they'd find us. They know this forest very well, it seems.
Okay. Well...
Don't want to annoy anyone. Be nice to everyone. Make lots of friends. No one is scared of you. Everyone likes you. Happy, happy days.
And
That sounds good.
just to be clear, nobody here wants to kill us. Yeah? Because it's been a couple of days since I feel like that's been the case.
The
I
wolves
didn't
wanted to kill us
ask.
quite a lot.
Emelina, I didn't ask explicitly whether she wanted to kill us, but she does have claws, and she could kill us.
Well, but you said she was nice to you.
No, I said she was nice.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, if she's nice, we should go be friends with her.
As you're having this conversation, the last of the light of the day leaches out, leaving the stars, and the moon is yet to rise. You hear in the distance, and Tenebris, with your dark vision, you see across the grove balloons, much like the ones you'd seen before, but a slightly different shape, more oblong, oval, rising up and inflating out of the trailer. Then you see the tension in the chains suddenly go slack. And then the chains released and fall down into the space beneath the trailer, and the trailer slowly starts to rise into the blackness of the sky.
Oh, we should have maybe got on it.
And then in front of you, the thin, slightly stooped figure of Emelina.
Superhero landing.
Then, limping along the rope bridge connected to your branch, you see the thin figure of the old man with the hunting rifle, but not slung across his shoulders anymore, held in his hands, moving towards you.
Oh, shit.
At his side, a small blonde girl, her knife also held in her hands. Behind you, you hear... and you look to see the large, overbearing figure of the figure who had helped you come to this place.
No.
Emelina
No.
looks at you. We will have to work out what to do with you. And we'll leave it there.
No.
This isn't very jellical, Ali.
Ali! You're not a jellicle cat? My god. Oh.
I assume they're about to bust into a musical number explaining how that they are going to heal all of our wounds.
I have 1 hit point, damn it. Ali, I know my backup character is very cool, but we don't need to, try and bring her out. Like, my god. Oh.
Emily, the injured character.
Christ. I mean, crikey.
Oh, blimey.
Jellicle cat.
I know.
Jellicle cat and jellicle cat.
Wow.
Oh god,
Well.
we are not dead quite yet.
We didn't die!
Hooray!
Well done. You
Yet.
didn't die.
Also, Sharmony for soloing a large part of that session. Well done, Sharmony.
Sorry about that.
Sharmony. Really good job.
That was all right.
And obviously Ali, as always. Like,
No, you were shit, Ali. You nearly killed us.
You guys, I was just amazed how quickly it was all resolved. I was like, oh
Yeah,
God,
that was not planned. In case anybody is accusing us of that, that is not planned.
No, that was the
keys
roll.
because of that.
I should have taken a picture of my roll, which brought you up, Simon. But never mind. Bollocks.
Oh, we do. It's fine.
It was a 12, in case anybody cares. But
I do care.
I'm sorry for recapping I nearly would have recapped the entire plot in great detail.
I was like, someone stop her. Like, who needs a roundup episode when you've got Tenebris talking to people?
And you were just like, no, please stop. And I was like, oh god, it's just me. There are no other player characters. Oh god.
You did better than Uriel did with the fish people, trying to explain everything that happened. I was trying to use like 1-syllable words.
Right, should we take a little break and then come back with some science?
Yeah, let's do that.
Thank you everyone for staying with us so far, and we'll be back in a very short moment. Hi everyone. Hi, welcome back. We've had a break. I've had a hysterical break.
We were on a break.
Breaking our sanity.
We're still not okay for some reason, but don't worry, it's all be good. We are okay enough to be able to talk about science tonight for you. And I feel like there were loads of things that came up in that episode that we could either chat about now or could come up in future debriefs. Things that need to be explained using science that happened. Has anyone got a favourite?
Canopies, how do they work?
No, that's not science. No, vetoes.
Canapes, how do they work?
No.
Well, in terms of things that are not science, but I did want to call back to this. So we ended up briefly swerving into shoe sizes.
Yes, okay, we do have
with the barley.
It's very important.
Right, so apparently this is the barleycorn is the basis for current UK and North American shoe sizes. The largest shoe size is taken as 12 inches. So a size 12 shoe is 12 inches
That's
long.
12 inches feet.
I'm a size 12.
No, I think that's
No, you're not 12 inches long.
It's
12
not-
inches is just like that. It's like a ruler.
I mean, I'm literally just reading what's in front. Don't shoot the messenger. Like, it's a 12-inch foot is a size 12,
Okay.
and then counting
No.
backwards in barleycorns, so a size 11 is 11.67 inches, and a size 10 is 11.33 inches.
But I thought a barleycorn was. Oh,
Yeah, it's a third of an inch each time. So every time
So
you go
no
down
one
a
has
shoe
less
size,
than 2/3 of a foot long foot, or 2/3 of a ruler long foot.
yeah, it's like,
I guess 12 inches is a foot, so it would be the length of a foot. That does make sense.
about a foot.
12
Yeah, a
inches
foot's
is a foot. Oh
foot's
my
about
god. It does all make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
My
does
foot
make
isn't
sense.
12 inches.
yeah, but you're not a size
the
12.
shoe size
So much
is-
sense.
But
I'm
the
not
shoe
a size
sizes
12.
go back in the shoe sizes aren't inches.
Let's try
then
and
they're
guess
barley
each other's shoe size. That would be
But they're-
okay.
This is great podcast content.
Like it is. Sharmini, are you a size 6?
I said my shoe
I
size
wasn't listening.
earlier. No, pay more attention. I'm 6
What
and
is
a half,
it?
thank you.
Well, basically 6.
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know what
Okay,
happens
let's
when it
go
goes
back in.
because you know how it like loops back on itself. Like when you're a kid, you go up.
Yes.
to like
What does that? Yeah.
It
What's the
doesn't say
maximum
here.
kid size? Is that 12? Or can you be a size 14 kid size?
I don't remember
Is
being
it a different kind
many
of like
shoe
plant,
questions.
like
Are
wheat?
you ever a size 1? Like, I don't think remember
Yeah.
ever being a size 1 in shoe.
You can be a
I'm
size
sure
1
I
shoe.
bought a size 1 shoe.
for a kid.
For your
like,
baby.
Maybe it doesn't
Not
have
for
a
a
size.
baby,
it's
because
just
no,
tiny
but, like,
size or something.
you're in
I actually
primary
don't remember
school
even
and the
looking at it.
numbers are going up and you're like, oh yeah, it's going up, and then it comes
remember
back round to
primary
1.
So you know
Is
how
it possible to remember primary school? That's a good sign.
I remember some of primary school.
Primary school.
I remember primary school. That
Is it
bullying is
really?
really lodged in my
11.
core.
The answer is yes, and we've solved that.
You're like 11 in
Earliest
primary school.
memory,
to the top.
Ali.
Yeah.
What's your first memory,
Like
Ali?
last week, he remembers.
Like a goldfish.
Ali backstory
I'm
dump
sure
coming now.
that
51st
My,
dates.
sure, my first memory is just a picture of me as a baby, and I feel like I actually have that memory, but I don't. I just seen a picture and have internalized it as my own memory.
Yeah.
So I don't really know is the answer.
Because I think I can remember
must
being
remember
about
something
I remember
from
being about
primary school.
3 and watching Thomas the Tank Engine, like a very hazy memory.
Solid. I have a similar thing where I feel like I remember looking down on a birthday cake with Winnie the Pooh on, but there is, however, a picture of me
photo.
at my 3rd birthday looking at a Winnie the Pooh cake, and I think it's probably that. But that's what in my head is my earliest memory.
So you'd expect that shoe sizes would make more sense in a metric system, right? Like in Europe.
There's a metric. Oh yeah, that whole
it's a different
30s ones. What's that based on?
Oh boy, it's based on something called the Paris point. The Paris point. The Paris
What's
point
the Paris?
is 2/3 of a centimeter.
Oh, for God's sake!
Oh no! Why would you do that? That's
It's
awful.
in a rational fraction of a centimeter. Whole sizes
awful.
are incremented by 1 Paris point between half sizes.
What?
That's fine, but just why?
But like, why 2/3 of a centimeter? That's so strange. Oh, it's based on the
like
French were
that.
doomed, yeah. So the other thing that I had up here, there is a diagram which links various imperial units together. And I will take you through a flow of this diagram. So, and this is interesting because it breaks it down into the order of magnitude of the units, and they range from micrometers to kilometers in scale. So, for example, there are 20 twips in a point, there are 6 points in a line, there are 12 lines in an inch, 3 inches in a palm, 2
sorry.
palms in a shaftment.
Shaftment.
I'm not kidding. 5 shaftments in a pace. 2 paces
palms in a shaftment.
2 palms in a shaftment.
Palms in a shaftment is
Bonk
just
for
not.
days.
That is
That's what it is. And there are 2 shaftments in a foot. So make it this what you will. But then there are 3 shaftments in a cubit. There are 11 cubits in a pole. There are 4 poles in a Gunter's chain, 10 Gunter's chains in a furlong, and 8 furlongs in a mile.
Okay, someone has to have a character called Gunter who has a big chain. That has to be like, and it's his weapon.
Or,
That's-
if you want to start from a different point on this flowchart, there are 3 digits in a nail, 4 nails in a span, 5 spans in an L, 96 L's in a skein, and 120 skeins in a spindle.
Why? Why do they do this?
and it all goes to an imaginary unit at the end, a spindle.
How high were they when they created this? Like, Just pick a number
But
and then a word.
A
What
twist.
is a
Saying the
spindle long?
cubit.
I've lost that.
Yeah, a cubit. So I thought that was an ancient Egyptian measurement. That was
so many
the length of
quantum
your-
thing.
That was the length of your forearm in ancient Egypt. I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Forearm from like here.
No, it was from like your elbow to the end of your little finger, if I remember rightly.
Is everyone? Oh no, I'm not. Okay.
So, and there was another one that was bonkers. That was right. So there are 5 shaftments in a pace,
Bonkers.
2 paces in a step, 4 steps in a rope, 5 ropes in a Ramsden's chain, and then 50 Ramsden's chains to the Roman mile.
Who are these
All
people?
of these
with chains?
people with chains, with differing lengths.
Dunno.
Famous men or women with differing chain lengths.
We're going to have
Yes,
Uriel's
men or women.
rope as
But
the
let's be
new...
real, they were almost definitely men. Like they were
Uriel's
men.
rope will be the new system of measurement on Brexcan 2.
Uriel's rope.
Uriel's rope.
Yeah, just give everything in Uriel's rope.
5.
Yeah.
This is. I'll post this. Tell you what, I'll post this picture in
Wheels
our
belt.
Discord.
Everyone, join Dr. Simon Clark's
Everyone,
Discord to
Exclamation
find the
mark
RP Geeks discussion.
There is a link to our Discord on our website.
And if you do exclamation mark Discord in the Twitch chat right now, apologies to podcast listeners, it will also come up. Also, come watch us
And
live.
YouTube people.
It's much more fun when you come and watch us live.
That's true. It's also really fun if you download the podcast, even if you've watched it live. It's also really fun, I've heard.
That's so fun.
Especially also if you then rate the podcast 5 stars and comment
You know what
how
would be
wonderful it
more?
is.
You know what would be more fun than telling people how fun our show is? Is like doing the
Making a
show,
fun show. And
and
making
maybe
it
talking
fun.
about the science. I don't know. This is a
Disagree.
wild
Strongly
idea,
disagree.
but
So what were the bits of science that you picked out today, Sharmini, that you thought might be...
I was just okay. There's nothing really to say, but look, she's got a wingsuit thing. Is that what they're called? When you can glide on them?
A squirrel suit or a
She's got
wingsuit.
claws for gripping onto the trees. She falls backwards off branches. I'm in love with her. That's the science of that.
Tenebris and Emelina sitting in a tree.
Falling out of a tree.
Falling out of a tree.
Actually, I wonder because how fast do you have to go in a wingsuit to achieve lift? It's very fast. I know that much.
But
Then
it-
I'll work on this.
how far do you have to fall before the wingsuit
Yeah.
will
That's the
it's
relevant
about
thing,
speed
yeah.
through the
Yeah.
air, right?
Yeah, but you're going to be going at falling at terminal velocity, right?
Unless
Yeah.
you kick off the branch.
Kick
No.
off. Go like minimize
Still not
your
gonna go-
resistance.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
But you
go
gotta like
quick- yeah.
maximize your
initial
falling
velocity
speed,
is going to
yeah.
be like a meter per second tops. Like if you kick off of a branch, like
But then but how long?
You can't add that much, surely, by kicking off.
yeah, like it's going to be pretty minimal.
It's going to make a difference when you need to get to high speed as quickly as possible.
But not if you're fighting gravity. I don't know. I feel like it
Fighting
wouldn't-
gravity, you're getting up to terminal velocity.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
required
I don't know how much difference it would make if you actually, like, falling. So say you're standing. Okay, let's just say, for example, you're standing on a wall and you just drop, right? As opposed to like jumping.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it adds that much.
gonna make that much difference.
Jesus Christ, I'm on all sorts of strange websites.
You gotta definitely minimizing your air resistance would result in a higher
Yeah.
terminal velocity. So that'd be nice.
But then she wants to boom her
and
wing
then,
down.
but once she reaches, she can woof. And the trees are very tall. Maybe
So
she
wingsuits
has.
work like a wing, right? So what you need is like maximum air. You need you need the maximum speed so that you can get a difference between the pressure between the two airs, but like above and below the wing, right?
So it's
two
it's
airflows.
still basically an aerofoil and
Yes,
gliding.
it's an aerofoil.
But I don't know if birds' wings and wings in nature are aerofoils. I think they actually gain lift by just
Not wings, but a
intercept-
flying squirrel.
No, but a squirrel though does have the
Gliding.
like.
Yeah, so it's not
parachute almost.
a aerofoil. It's just
Yeah, I didn't.
a parachute.
I think it's a parachute. Yeah, because
Like
they're
it doesn't
gliding. They're
generate
not,
lift.
or
Flying
not
squirrel.
much anyway. But I mean, it could.
Let's flying squirrel.
It's not flying; it's falling with
Style. We're not aiming for the truck. Boom! Collides with tree.
Oh, brilliant. I found a 1998 paper about wingtip anatomy and aerodynamics of flying
Perfect.
squirrels.
Love it.
All right, just
Love
leave
it.
me be. I'll be back.
Maybe flight is one for next time.
Yeah,
love
that could be a good one to look
I'm
up,
gonna I'm gonna put it down on the list of ideas. Like,
Was
To
anyone else
look at.
expecting us to be attacked by a giant mechanical bird when we were in like the treetops?
No, because I don't think
No.
Ali is that repetitive.
but I need someone.
Maybe
Thank
Can
you.
we?
Thank you for that. I heard
Well,
that amid
I'm a
the
little
flying
bit-
squirrel.
Also, can I just while we're working out what we're going to talk about, Ali, the music for the first like 20 minutes was incredible. I was going through all emotions, and it was very difficult to not cry. I thought it was brilliant. I was just being nice.
Thank you.
Stop being
Thank you.
nice.
I'm
He doesn't
I'm
like
still
you.
learning about squirrels.
It's good
so
for him.
I can't evince an emotion.
You might like me more and not
Encouragement.
try and kill me. I've got 1 hit point left, Simon, and people are about to attack us.
Yes, true.
Be nice to the DM.
So it's gliding. It's equilibrium gliding is what it's
We're
called.
going to look at it next week because it sounds like complicated physics.
Aerodynamics
It's
is
really
always
interesting.
massively complicated.
I think it's basically just a parachute.
really
I'm going to be on record and say I think it's basically just a parachute.
Yeah, I
What
think
do you mean
so.
just? Like, what do you mean
Sort of
just?
is.
As in,
Like,
it's not generating lift, it's just trying to slow the
is
descent.
generating
define lift
lift.
then. What? How is
Well,
it?
lift is when you have lateral motion through the air and it generates vertical motion.
Okay,
It generates a vertical force.
Yes,
It
sorry.
doesn't have to generate vertical motion, so it could be generating lift while they're
there is
falling.
a force generated on the underside of the flying squirrel wings by the
course,
air
it's
resistance,
what a
right?
parachute
and that
is.
pushes it up a little bit, which gives it the lateral motion. And then there's drag and stuff. Yeah, you're right.
But-
It's a parachute, isn't it?
That doesn't mean it's not lift.
right, but
It's a parachute.
okay. So you say it's just a parachute, but didn't they design like a special parachute for the Mars rover for Perseverance? Like it was like supersonic or something because it went out really, really quickly.
Well, you have a
So-
drogue chute that you use in upper atmospheres. So that's
Yeah.
one of those that you use to sort of kill their initial velocity.
Aspire, I think
How
it's
does
called
that
Aspire.
work? Because there's no sort of atmosphere to fill.
There is some atmosphere.
much
It's just,
atmosphere,
it's
but
just
there's much
minimal.
minimal
yeah,
atmosphere.
So what does it do? Like, how does that work?
so
landed
same
pretty
as it does.
hard,
It's just
didn't it?
less.
Like-
There's just less.
But I think also it's designed to. It has a smaller surface area, but it's acting for longer, basically. So it's like
Right.
it's slightly,
So
like
what was the
mechanically
point?
different setup.
What was
if you-
the
if
point
you-
of them getting one that went out so quickly? Was it just the quicker out it goes, the better? I guess.
I am not sure. I would assume it is to do with the mechanical strain on the system because it's a
Yeah,
totally different thing to have like a small chute that kills a lot of your velocity from a large number, whereas what you want with the larger parachutes is to kill your velocity to basically nothing, like relatively quickly.
And then they also have
But
little
wasn't the,
sky crane stuff. But
am I thinking correctly that the video of the whichever Mars rover landing Curiosity, like
the
it was
7 minutes of terror
pretty
or whatever.
like violent. Like it wasn't a gentle. It wasn't
Well,
like I'm parachuting.
No,
It was
it's pretty good. No, I think it's pretty good. They have the parachute system, and then they have the jets that go from the bottom of it as well after the parachute goes. So it kind of like floats down
that's
and
cool.
like lands.
But what was the? It was the rover before that. It wasn't Opportunity.
Curiosity.
No, well, the one before Curiosity.
Perseverance.
Insight.
Where's that one? Where's Percy?
Insight.
No, that's
Sight.
there was the
Insight,
one.
isn't it?
There was the particular Mars rover where they shot it at the surface and they just basically
they
surrounded
bounced
it by
it.
balloons.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just bouncy balled.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. It's so very cool. I should know the name of that, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm annoyed that I can't remember
I
that.
literally made a documentary about Mars rovers, and I can't remember what it's called.
Well, I
Just
actually
gonna look it up.
that was
Mars rover
Mars is
bouncy
something that will
ball.
come up in something that I had prepared for today. I don't know if we want to go into.
Yeah.
Wait, I just
We love
there was
them.
one more thing that I wanted to say.
It's Spirit and Oppie. That's how it's Spirit and
Oh, it was
Oppie.
both of them. Right. Okay.
One more suggestion for future
Rip.
D&D briefs is how to navigate by the stars. I would be interested in knowing that.
Yeah.
Plenty of literature on that.
Yes, would love.
One. This is incredible. The flying squirrel, right? Like it has, it sticks out. It's totally not operating like an aerofoil. That was just nonsense, right? So let's pretend I never said that. It's some sort of crazy parachute-like combination. And what it means is that it jumps off something high, right? And then it goes. First of all, it's going down quite fast, and then it as soon as it outs its wing bags, then it very
Wing
quickly-
bags.
Wing bags. Just
it very
wings.
quickly starts slowing down its fall and generating a lot of lateral motion, and then before it lands on the other, because what I was worried about is that Emelina is basically going to chuck herself off the back of a branch and then just accelerate into the trunk of whatever other tree she's aiming for, right? And I was like, how is that going to work? But the squirrel, what happens is like it actually starts accelerating backwards before it hits the tree.
What?
What?
Like it's decelerating, if you want to call it that.
Oh, so
Accelerating backwards. We were like, wait, so it just suddenly goes backwards.
it fires its retro rockets.
It starts going up again,
You know,
right?
it backwards
goes to
acceleration.
Exactly.
Yeah, it starts going
somehow
up,
it manages
slows
to go
down,
upwards.
and grabs
Like,
onto
how
the
does
tree.
So it must. There's
it
got to be
must go
something
Because it's
from a
going
lateral-
fast enough.
Yeah.
fast enough to what? But where's the lift coming from if it's going up? Because a parachute can only go down.
That's true. It only looks like it goes up in pictures because of the camera that's filming it is falling.
Also,
What?
how on earth does a flying squirrel learn how to do this? Because I feel like you get one shot at learning, and if you don't do it well, you are a
How's
piece
the
of
bird
jam.
learn to fly? Like, they fall on the floor
You've
all
seen
the
those
time.
ones, the footage of ducklings coming out of trees,
Yeah.
just stacking it into the ground.
being
Like,
like,
they don't even bother
A,
learning. They're just
movement,
like,
a motion like that, where you have to decelerate, fire your retros as you're coming into land, like
Okay.
you,
But if you've seen your parents like jump out the tree and every time they just go wee, like surely just going wee is easier than flapping.
But I find that idea really, because this was something that came up actually when I was watching Star Trek recently. That there was a species called the Jem'Hadar that were basically genetically engineered to grow incredibly quickly. They were naturally very aggressive, and
Didn't have childhoods, poor darlings.
and they became soldiers within like a couple of days, and they just instinctually know how to do this. And the idea of like genetic memory of like you just
that's
know how
really-
to do these tasks.
Intrinsic memory is fascinating. Like, it's
does that
really
work?
cool stuff.
What's the most complex thing in nature that
Has
that
intrinsic
creatures
memory?
could do? Because I think the other
I
thing
think
about
some of the interesting stuff is like the creatures that know like not to breathe underwater and to wait till they get to the surface after they've been born. They like literally swim up and then go, oh cool, now I can breathe.
that, I feel like that's very basic. I feel like complexity is about adaptability of behavior. So survival things like jump when you see a snake coming towards you, or don't breathe underwater, or like pull back from a hot stove. Which actually, no, I guess that's very basic. But certain things are very, very simple. But
or
once you
eye tracking in humans, right?
Eye tracking. Is
As
that
in, like,
complicated
fact
though?
that you
It's
can
just
follow.
Oh, it's great. But as in, no, not tracking where someone's eyes are moving, but knowing. So if you're a baby and you see your parent looking at something, then you know to follow where their eyes.
you look where the eyes
Yeah,
go.
like, whereas cats and dogs don't do that.
Is no, that's hugely complicated, and yet it is. I think it's a.
Kradis
Yeah,
MD in
response.
our Twitch chat for people listening on the podcast says spiders' webs. That is true. Like, how do spiders know how to make a spider?
They are the same every single time. That's
They're
my
not.
point,
They
is that
adapt
you
to
can
the
have-
environment.
Oh.
Like
It's a
what,
science
like the
off.
shape it has to be.
yeah, like one spider says to the other, "It's like, why are you pooping the stuff out of your butt?" And you're like, "I don't know. It just feels like the right thing to do." Like, that's an instinctive behavior. I think that's incredibly complex, isn't it?
Is it flexible?
web.
Like, how flexible is it? Would be my question. How much, can you? There are certain things that you could do well just by programming something simple, but as soon as there's something where you need like higher processes or thinking to be able to change it, that's why humans don't rely on instinctive behaviors. We could have so much stuff programmed in. The reason babies are so helpless is that by learning to do things and not relying on these simple feedback mechanisms and intrinsic things, is that you have so much more flexibility and so much more complexity that you can do.
What if we are a race of beings that have been created by like star beings and have all of like loads of stuff programmed into us, but we haven't had the right activation
Been
yet?
triggered.
Like suddenly we all get taken to a different planet and we're like, I know how
We
to
can
fight.
fly. Oh no.
Oh.
So this is a breeding ground. Again, it's a breeding ground for soldiers.
Yeah, they come in, they
It's
scoop
all
up a bunch of humans, they
programmed,
take us over to Omnithrax 3, and then we just beep
What's it
boop,
called?
I'm a murderer now.
Why?
Oh,
That
no.
moment when you said Omnithrax 3, I just thought, what if I suddenly become a killbot now? Code word.
Ali, you're basically trying to be a killbot at the moment, so
Don't be that guy.
Also, it came up in Twitch chat. I think it was Cheryl from our friends at Nature Check asked about the images of webs built by spiders on drugs, which I would encourage people to Google if they've not seen.
yes, do.
I actually had first-hand experience of this because I went to a...
Had some drugs, tried to spin a
Tried to
web.
spin a web.
It was shit.
I just smeared a bunch of feces over my wall. I went to a cognac distillery in France, and basically the room where they keep the barrels to mature them, there is so much alcohol in the air that it affects how the spiders spin their webs. So the spiders' webs are just a mess all over these barrels. There's no like
Drunk
structure.
spiders.
It's just drunk
no.
spiders.
The
Oh, they're
spiders are
just-
loving it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think that's
They're
great.
really depressed spiders, just
Think about the
crying, making
flies that are around
webs.
there.
Also, all the flies presumably are just flying drunk. They're like airline pilots. They're just like, it must be incredibly easy to catch flies in a cognac distillery. Like they're just lazily drifting into the webs.
We're going to land now, I think, probably somewhere near that barrel.
Fuck it.
We're landing on the Chateau neuf de Pape 1867.
Oh, I've hit something.
Please make sure your undercarriage legs are up.
Can I tell you something fun about babies following the gaze, right?
Oh yeah.
I think they can't really, it's not like 100% proven, they probably can't really do it until around 9 months, some people have said earlier. The reason it's particularly interesting that they're going to look at you and then look where you're looking is that which is called joint attention, is very closely linked to what's called theory of mind.
I love theory of mind stuff.
In other words, if a baby is looking at you and then looks somewhere else, is that just a sort of habit that it's sort of learned by association that there's something there? Or
you wouldn't know theory of mind until you were 4 or 5.
3.
I was going to say, it's young.
No, 3 don't. And then...
They start passing the... Is it not the marshmallow test?
The mirror
Whatever
test.
the test is.
The mirror test is the one.
Mirror test is quite young. There's also another one that 3 or 4 they can...
Isn't it?
I do not
Yeah,
feel
but these are- these
biological
are-
enough to be
The
taking
mirror
part in this.
But
We
the
play on
point
the
is
physics
that there
stuff,
is not.
Simon.
The point is that there is probably not a sudden point where they suddenly go, other people are humans with their own mind. So theory of mind is, do you know that when you see something in the world, if it's like a human, has a mind like yours, has its own perception of the world, might think things that aren't true, might see things that you don't see. That's the whole concept.
And particularly as well that you are you and you have like
And not
your
them.
own. Yeah, exactly. You do not relate to things you are seeing.
If you feel something, they don't know that you feel that, for example. But it's probably not a sudden thing. There are tests, like as you say, like with a mirror and about hiding things that happen around a certain age, quite developmentally consistently.
Also,
but I just really like the idea that there are sort of bits of it that could be linked even earlier.
Yeah, it's like the mirror test. I know is one of those really like controversial tests that some people are like, it doesn't prove theory of mind, and some people will adamantly say it does because there was like a video. So the mirror test is where you put a mark on someone's face, and then
my mum does it
put them
with
in front.
bindies. My mum,
Oh, really?
she's got a little
Puts
stick on bindies, and you pretend to be wiping the baby's face, and then you secretly stick a mark on them, and then show them the mirror again.
That's really cool. Yeah, and the idea is if any human looked in the mirror, they'd be like, "Oh, cool! I see a mark on my face. I'll get rid of it or touch it at least, and like interact with their own face."
Yeah.
Whereas animals that don't have theory of mind will just be like, "Hey, look, a thing with a thing on his face," and just carry on with their day.
Have you seen that video? There is a video that has stuck in my mind of a cat doing a similar kind of behavior. It's like stood up on its hind legs.
Yes.
And it's got its ears and it's touching its ears and watching them flap down and flap
It's
back up.
intriguing, isn't it?
And it's like, holy shit, that's me.
I've
Like,
not heard of a cat having theory of mind.
No.
this
that's
is an anecdotal video, but it like looks very convincing. I would say, humans are very,
we
like they like to
anthropomorphize.
Anthropomorphize.
However, cats are really hard to study because they don't care if you give them treats; they won't
they're
do
the
the
worst.
tricks. So they could, and we wouldn't know because they won't do it for you.
You'd
But
put
you want
anything
it
in
to,
front of them and
so-
be like, yes,
They're like-
and?
Yeah, what's your point? Like, I'm better than you, so.
Please tell me that people have seen. There's, if we're on the subject of animal like video experiment videos, there's a video about what's the kind of monkey that they frequently use? They're quite small.
Macaque.
Or
No, not macaques.
capuchins.
Yeah, capuchin monkeys.
Yeah.
And they did an experiment to do with like the intrinsic concept of fairness, where they got
I love those.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah,
I've seen this.
they gave
Yeah.
like the monkey a task to do, and then they basically paid them differently depending on the snack that they gave them. And they gave what was it like?
monkeys doing the
watch them
same
being like,
task
Yeah,
and
the
getting paid.
cucumber is like the cheap thing,
yes.
and they really like the grapes. So they give one a cucumber, and then another one does the same task. They feed it a grape, and the first one is like, "Oh my god, great! I'll do that task again." And then when they give it a cucumber, it like looks at it, looks up at the human, and throws the cucumber at them.
And then it refuses to do the
Like-
task again.
And then it like shakes the bars and is like slapping the table, like, "Give me my grape."
It's like, you told me what I was going to get. And there's brilliant. And there's a recent one I've seen of jays understanding magic, or like not understanding, sorry, being confused by a magic trick. And like that's
Abracadabra.
nice.
What kind of
I
magic?
think quite a lot of animals get confused by magic tricks.
But- Depends what kind of
not
magic trick,
confused.
right?
Like it's so that basically they put it's like one of those ones where you like move the cups around and they're like,
It's not where you
cool,
expect
I
it to
know
be.
what, and they put
Yeah.
like the really good treat under one and they move it around and they pick up, and then when it's not in the place they look, they stop and they're like, the fuck, like I got this right. You guys you've done something here. Whereas like the idea is that I don't know if it's theory of mind or just some kind of concept, but that they would any other animal would just keep looking at other ones and be like, just carry on. But it's just searching.
Jays are smart and they know they're
Jays were
smart. They're like,
use you.
this is not me that got this wrong. This is the world that is wrong.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, I think it's either jays or crows grieve.
Yes, crows do. Corvids I've documented as doing that.
They should stop murdering people. Wait. Bad joke.
There is that amazing.
That was so bad.
There's an Imager story of a guy who basically he started like a crow gang war by like feeding
I saw that one.
like a murder of crows on one side of the street, and then another side like tried to get in on it, and then like he basically, as if he was like the Wicked Witch of the West, just like sent his crows flying. He was a real life druid. Anyway,
Amazing.
Science.
Simon, what were you going to say?
Simon, you practiced up. What was it based on?
So basically, well, we had in the last session quite a bit of a tumble through some underwater,
Oh no, that was 2 sessions.
Was it 2 sessions ago? Oh yes, it was, wasn't it? Basically, we had a fall, and then we went through an underground river, and we ended up talking to fish people, and then we left via another river. And I thought it would be interesting to have a bit of a look at sort of how this happens, because there is a link to extraterrestrial stuff to do with this. So basically, when we think about like underwater rivers and the kind of geology that we were experiencing, there's normally an example of what's called karst scenery, which I always assume, and that's Karst. I always assumed that was the name of a dude who discovered it. Turns out nobody really knows what the word means.
What?
But it's very similar to the Proto-Indo-European word for rock.
What?
So it could be one of these just incredibly old phrases that nobody really knows where it comes from, but it's basically, oh yeah, that's a rock thing.
That's amazing.
So yeah, nobody.
So what does it mean?
Well, that's the thing. No one. Like, if you look at the etymology, like even the meaning is just like it refers to these structures, but like it doesn't.
What structures? No, but
So
like,
it refers.
explain it.
I will give you a
I don't
definition.
know at all what you're talking about. Something geology, underground river, aliens.
Yeah,
was
it
what I
refers
got.
to. I'll read you the notes that I had here. Refers to a topography, so the lay of the land, caused by the dissolution of soluble rocks, mostly limestone. But it could be
dissolution,
as in the dissolving via, acids in water. Rocks, mostly limestone, things that are quite easy to dissolve, but sometimes it can be more complex stuff like quartz that gets dissolved.
Oh, hence you've got a rock, you've got some water on the surface, and if the water dissolves all the rock, you can get an underground river.
Yeah, so basically you have like a flow in to a geological system, and quite frequently this will be where you have strata of, for example, limestone between strata of other rock, and it will basically flow through that rock, dissolving it as it goes. But then if the height of the water table changes, so if the water table shrinks down, then it dries out and you're left with this cave system,
like a tunnel. Yeah.
But what happens
the
is
tunnel, there must be bits coming down to the tunnel, or is it like is it that, so it's not just all just sort of flowing down from the surface downwards, it like a flow down here, and then it'll sort of eat its
so
way
that's the
through
thing,
underground
Just wherever the limestone was.
depending on the angle that the strata make with respect to the water table, or like the local level, you can get stuff that is pretty much vertical, you can get stuff that is basically horizontal. Generally speaking, you'll have something that's at an angle between those two. But also, if you look at cave systems, and there's an example near me called Wookiee Hole, that's like kind of a famous example of this cave system. That is basically this, but it has a zigzag.
I can't do the noise, so I'm just going to try.
Oh, that was great.
But like it goes not in a straight line, but it zigzags depending on where the strata are and where there are fractures between like different layer of the strata. So that's why it's not just a river, but that is sometimes what you do see, and you do see underground rivers. And the outflow at the other end is what we see as a spring. So that can be just a natural cold water spring, but as in where I live, Bath, you can get hot water springs, which is either caused by the water being heated by magma that's closer to the surface in like a pocket, or there's a fracture that goes deeper down into the crust, and so the water circulates down and then back up. So
It's good to have nice hot water. That is what you need in this planet.
But the journey is such that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like the basically the water that comes out of the spring in Bath, and it goes into, you can literally bathe in it as the Romans did, It's took like something like 20,000 years to get through the geological feature.
Wow.
Really?
Which is why it's so rich in minerals, because it's been dissolved.
All that time.
It's dissolving through all that time.
Do the minerals make it?
Is it acidic?
Yeah.
So right now, if I
not
remember
after
the
it's
chemistry
absorbed all
right,
that-
I think because it's
all that
dissolved.
limestone, right?
Yeah, because
all
it's
the base,
dissolved
yeah.
the water. I think it neutralizes itself. But like, because it goes in
Can't be
acidic.
perfect.
It's
Because-
acidic, and then it forms calcium carbonate, which is a base.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
neutralizes the acid.
alkaline, and then
It must. If it's gone through that much limestone and things,
But-
then it must.
Are
surely.
the minerals good for your skin? Did the Romans have really nice skin from bathing?
Well,
in
that
the
was
bath?
what they
baths,
the
baths.
local legend goes that there was a shepherd's was it a shepherd's son, I think, called Bladud, who Bladud, who
Every weekend he got totally bladdered.
I think. Hang on,
Next
Down the
NPC.
pub.
I'm representing local history here, so I've just got to make sure that I'm getting this
make
right.
sure you get this right.
And I think basically he was like a pig herd or something like that, and
It was a pig herd.
he basically fell into the waters
Oh no, flooded.
did, and was cured, if I remember rightly.
Oh,
Good. Just good.
that was of being.
But I can't remember of what. I want to say it was like
Relief.
leprosy. That was it. It was leprosy. That was it. He went in and was
what
allegedly
hard
cured
to
by
cure.
leprosy.
Was it a miracle? Oh no, this was pre-Christian.
This was so right.
Just
This was
allegedly.
this was Celtic.
Myth.
Wow.
Well, it's a big
So
deal
the bards
here.
had healing. The bards had healing properties. Then.
Yeah, so it became
Amazing. Supposedly,
like
allegedly.
the god was
Allegedly.
was it Sul or Sulis? I can't remember, but that was like the Celtic name for it. And then when the Romans came over, they basically founded a temple on the same site, which they referred to the city as Aqua Sulis, so the waters of Sulis. And then the goddess in the Roman religion was Sulis Minerva, if I remember rightly.
McGonagall.
And basically, like it's one of these things that you're supposed to bathe in it, and it helps you because of all the minerals dissolved in it. You can also drink it, presumably not after
good?
people have bathed in it.
Allegedly.
Should we do a stream from the baths?
Doesn't
Live
taste
stream.
good.
Live stream of
Oh,
the
does it
RPGeeks.
not?
You've drunk it.
I have
Does it
drunk
really?
it. Yeah,
Does it put lime scale everywhere?
it's sort of
Oh yeah, it's like when you don't clean your kettle.
yeah, that kind of taste basically, but it's also warm. It's unpleasantly warm.
Warm water is
Yeah.
not.
But so there's a Roman baths, and they are amazing because they have the water flows that the Romans built are still perfectly functional now. So there's water
What do
flowing
you mean
through.
water flows? Like
So like there are conduits that take the water that comes up in the spring and take it to various rooms in the baths, because there were, depending on how hot the bath was in a room, they mixed it in. So there was like
That's so cool.
the caldarium, the tepidarium. There was like all these different names
I
for
don't
them.
want a tepidarium. I want the caldarium.
You were supposed to go into like
40
in a specific
degrees, come
order. It
on.
was like you go in like a normal temperature, a very hot one, a very cold one, a kind of in the middle one.
Well, they do the hot cold thing. That's quite common, isn't it?
Yeah.
In, like spas and things, you do that.
And there was one that, if I remember, I haven't been to the baths for a couple of years now, but there was basically a hot tub. There was like a tub that you could sit in with multiple people, and then an inflow of this water that would swirl around as you were sat in it. But all of these inflows, and like they are still functioning. The main bath in the baths is still filled via these things that were built 2,000 years ago.
And it's
Yeah,
pale.
I've never gone to the baths in Bath. We should. Can we do a hot tub stream in the baths in Bath?
Well, so there's the Roman
talk about
one,
the
and then
science.
there is a modern one, but I don't think we'd be able to book that just for us because it's very premium.
So how does the hot water get forced up from the ground?
So I think it's basically there will be a fracture, a strata of the limestone, and then there'll be a fracture that goes further down, and then there's just a circulation that forms. You can almost think of it as like it goes down, it will go into that. What's it called? The fracture, and then the flow over the top of that has a slightly lower pressure that then induces a circulation to form back up. So
Like a reverse like an aerofoil.
not everything has to be related to an aerofoil.
water coming in one end of the system from rain or whatever, and then there's a load of mixing
Yeah.
that comes on that happens near the hot bit.
Yeah, so
then it
it's
comes
being
out the other
pulled up
end.
basically. But yeah, so that's like
It's
kind
just
of.
how it comes from the. Yeah.
I think that is basically it. Yeah, like you have an inflow that goes in, but there's a finite capacity. So if you're constantly adding more water to the system, you eventually the stuff at the bottom is going to be forced back out by the pressure gradient that you form by the flow over the top, like a kind of Bernoulli principle thing.
Like an aerofoil.
Like an aerofoil.
Actually, damn it. One second.
But like
Anyway, so and the other thing is like, so these are the underground stuff that we talk about, but there are also features at the surface. So if anyone wants to Google the Lunan stone forest in China, there are these sort of sharp-sided geological features that kind of look very alien and strange, and they in fact cast geology as something that you can see over like a large area.
What do they look like? Someone tell me what they look like. That's what I need to Google.
I honestly don't know how to explain it. I have seen them before.
Forests,
They're almost like plates of rock with like that are like jagged on the top, and like lots of them next to each other. I'm describing that badly, really, but they look very cool. I highly recommend that everyone Googles Lunan stone forest because this is awesome.
So
One of them's got a little house on the top.
because I think there's a one in Turkey as well. There's a famous one. I didn't make a note of it, but there are lots of these around the world.
There's some in Greece as well. And there's sort of these, and there are sort of monasteries or temples or something on the top of them, and they're just these massive, just stone sort of things jutting out of the land, and they have.
Are great for seeing stuff like this and be like, that's amazing. I'm going to build a house on it.
I'll put a house on top.
Wait,
yeah.
I got distracted by the pretty rocks. How are the rocks? Like science. Tell me the science of the rocks.
So I think that it's the same process here of the surrounding material being eroded via different rock types, basically. But that brings me on.
Question.
Yes,
That's how rocks do.
How do the rocks get in that order in the first place?
So that is generally, you have rocks of. Well, these are sedimentary rocks that will be laid down,
Sure.
and then with tectonic pressures, they will be laid down flat, just like a stack of pancakes, and then as the plates move around, that stack can be warped and put at an angle, so that
And that's how you get the different angles and things that happen.
And depending on oh god, it's I think they're called synclines and anti-synclines when you have like a wave effect that you can see, so you can catch strata that are effectively vertical if they're in the middle of a transition from one to the other.
You mean you're sort of bending plates by forcing pressure against them, and that's sort of moving the stuff around? Does that mean that you're more likely to find these kind of rock formations near plate boundaries, and if you're like bang in the middle of a plate, it's going to be flat?
Well, yes, if they're young, because the thing that geological time is really, really long. So everywhere on Earth at some point has had some kind of interesting tectonics, and actually like you're more limited by being overwritten, if you like, by new rock formations turning up. Like some of the oldest rock formations on Earth are actually that's a really good question. Let me just Google.
What's the oldest rock formation on Earth?
But like
I'm going to Google it faster than you.
Google off.
No,
Welcome to our stream.
It's on Hudson Bay. The geologists dated the oldest parts of the Nouveau Gituk greenstone belt at 4.3 billion years old.
It's 4.28 and you know it.
Two significant figures. It can be billions of years old, but for the most part, it's been overwritten by stuff that's happened in the past couple of 100 million years. So geology's not my strong suit, so I'm probably making a hand.
I really like
Isn't that like
geology. I think it's really interesting.
It really does.
You did it. You did it. Get out. Right, kick Simon out the stream. How do we do it?
The overwriting thing, isn't that like actually it's a big problem for people trying to backdate life, because essentially like the earliest living things make impressions on rock, and that's how you work it out, and it's very hard to find rock that's still left over from like really like the Hadean or whatever.
Yeah, totally. Like there is almost certainly, life is probably older than we think it is, but there is just no evidence for it.
I think there are certain places where
2021 years old, so everyone just
when they're like looking for old life, they basically go like, right, where's the oldest rocks? And then they go off to Greenland and are like inspecting, like, is this a squidge? This is like squidgy stuff was in this rock once, and looking for signs of algal mats and things like that.
But really hard so I just want to say I just got my religion joke really wrong, because obviously Jesus was born 2021 years old, and like Adam and Eve and stuff was the thing before that, right, in Christianity. I really messed up trying to do a religion joke there.
There was a guy who worked out basically went through the Bible and just was like, right, that was a day, that was a day, that was a day.
Oh, cool.
And worked out how exactly exactly
like a year before
like-
Jesus.
Jacob
and it was, if I remember
Dave,
rightly,
who begot Steve. You gotta do the generations with the begots and how old everyone was.
Yeah.
So
So
I
when
don't think it's for days. I think it's definitely the begot begats.
I think it was the 22nd of October that they worked out was the date that the world was created.
Oh, nice!
wow.
And I'll double check that because that's my birthday.
I was going to say, isn't that your birthday?
A little bit self-centered.
Let me just check the Wikipedia
Creation of
event.
the Earth.
Wikipedia event.
Creation of
Is
Earth.
my
this
birthday
day.
the creation of Earth in Christianity?
It's not on the Wikipedia. I might have misremembered that.
Oh dear.
But then, I really wish I could. There was somebody. Someone will tell me this. I'm sure in chat. Random.
Someone in
bot
chat has
saying-
said it's like 4,404 BC for creation.
That's very specific for like a. I think
4,404.
But this guy did work it. It was like, a day here, a week there, like just keep going back and back. Which, like, considering how vague the Bible is in points, is a lot of creative license.
I mean, it's a big
yeah, I was
thing
gonna
working
say.
out how old the Earth is. When was creation? This is a big question.
Oh, hang on. Was this it? I think I found an article about this. Hang on. Right. Yeah. A guy called James Ussher, Archbishop of Armagh, who in 1650 used the chronology of the Bible to calculate the precise date and moment of creation. Working from the Book of Genesis and risking some speculation on the Hebrew calendar, he calculated it began at 6 p.m. on Saturday, October 22nd, 4004 BC. Actually, here we go. Actually, he put the date at October 23rd and then pedantically realised that the time must have begun the night before because the Bible said the evening and the morning were the first day.
Oh, well, there you go. Congratulations. Your birthday evenings is the
Same as the birth of the universe. But anyway, so all this going back to the cave stuff. So that is the most common method that caves are formed. But there are lots of other methods that they do form, but not the kind of thing that we ran across. So you get things like sea caves, obviously, which is coastal erosion, working into headlands. You get fracture caves, which is when a fracture appears in the earth due to geological activity, and then erosion takes place in that.
That's awesome.
You also get glacier caves, which are formed by the ice melting and water flowing within and underneath the glacier. So like a subglacial process can carve out a cave. The other thing...
So under a glacier, you get a little sort of bloop opening, and then it fills in over the top of it with more soil, and you're like, oh...
Well, I think it's also that there could be a like one of these entrance points to like a weaker section of rock that is under a glacier, and then basically it tunnels meltwater
All the
flowing
water's
under the glacier.
gonna fall down it, and you wouldn't even know until the glacier's moved, and then you've got a whole.
You know what I find most interesting about all this stuff is like this is all cool and like stuff that happens on Earth. What the hell is happening on other
Well,
planets?
I was about to get to that.
Oh, okay, sorry. You go.
So basically, the last form of like sort of common way that these are formed is what's called primary caves, which are caves that form when the rest of the rock around it forms.
Lava tubes.
Like lava tubes, exactly.
Yes, we love a lava tube.
So basically, this is what happens when you get a lava channel. The surface cools quickly, and then you get a hardened crust, and then the inside just keeps flowing, and eventually you're left with just the crust, and then this, bit, the hollowed out bit,
Like
which
a
we
straw.
do see on Earth. But it is, I mean, we could talk about Mars colonization, but we know that's a terrible idea. But if you wanted to colonize the moon, it is one of these sort of sites that have been identified as possibly a place to put a moon colony because...
What, a giant lava tube?
Yeah.
Lava tube.
How big are lava
There are
tubes?
tunnels on the moon, and obviously it's a different set of geology because the gravitational constant is different. There are tunnels that could be larger than 300 meters in diameter, lying under 40 meters of regolith.
No.
So I have been in a lava tube on Earth.
On the moon?
On the moon. I went. It was 300 meters wide.
Whereabouts? Was it big?
Yeah, it was in a national park in America when we were filming. Craters of the Moon in Utah. No, sorry, Idaho is the national park. And it was, I would say, I'm really bad at guesstimating distance. I would say it's about 5 to 6 meters was the like.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Like, and it was all caved in, like all over the place, so it wasn't like a tube as such, but you could go and like walk through it, and it was very pretty sort of rock feature. And we were talking about Mars,
Very like
colonization.
round.
Very round, like very much like you could tell it was a tube that then had like collapsed rocket.
Yeah,
But
Really, really cool.
If you think about the problems of colonizing the moon, you've got to deal with solar radiation, you've got to deal with micrometeorites, you've got to deal with the temperature swings.
They're really
Inside
safe
one of these
places to be.
tubes, you're not going to be hit by the meteorites. You've got plenty of
God.
protection for the radiation. It's a pretty stable temperature, they estimate, of about -20, but it's not swinging
Cold.
from hundreds and hundreds of
like
degrees.
Cold.
Dealable with, yeah.
So actually, it's one of these places that this century, maybe, if people wanted to colonize the moon, that would be a place to start.
Lava tubes. Yeah.
This is a great fact. I love this.
So
I love
Love
this so
that.
much.
if there is actually a whole wiki article just called Lunar Lava Tube, which is
Nice.
great. Sounds like a name of a band. We've been the Lunar Lava Tubes.
All right, thanks everyone. We've been the
join
little
us.
lava tubes.
On the moon.
But that was what I had. I thought that was kind
was
of
really great.
interesting
Thank you,
to dive
Simon.
into the geology.
That was awesome.
Thanks, Simon.
That was
I feel
really
like
cool.
the sea caves, especially, I feel like I could have heard more.
Didn't everybody do that at GCSE geography where you did like the progression from like headland to cave to arch to stack to stump?
Oh, yeah.
God,
yeah, I
just
think
did
we did.
Oxbow.
Yeah. We went to
Yeah, I mostly remember the Oxbow Lakes.
went to like Isle of Wight and looked at some of the stuff.
Oh, Harry's
needles.
rocks. The
yeah,
needles.
Harry's Rock. That was it.
Yeah.
That was needles and
The
yeah,
needles,
yeah.
yeah, samesies. Nice.
Anyway,
Good times.
Shamini, over to you if you'd like to wrap up the whole shebang.
that was wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, players, for both D&D and science. Thank you, Twitch chat, for joining us live. Thank you, podcast listeners. I don't know why I'm doing an opera. I'm not.
You do it. I like this. It's
I
great.
don't know why I'm doing an opera voice.
No, not opera. What
Thank
am I
you.
thinking? Oscar speech was the word I was looking for. Not
That was my opera voice, apparently.
Anyway, thank you is the point. We love you all. Please continue to support us if you like what we're doing and need more really nerdy D&D and science in your life. Because who doesn't? Tell your friends. Tell it. You don't.
No, I do.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I got that totally wrong.
Wow, mates, that's awkward.
It's been a very stressful day. I have been
really
panicking about this episode all like 2 weeks.
Where was I? Oh yeah, tell your friends, tell everyone. Leave us comments on our YouTube and on our podcast. Can you leave comments on podcasts?
You can on some, but you can also
podcasts.
rate 5 stars and
leave
download
us
every
5
episode.
stars.
Okay,
Yeah.
I guess you could do that too. But we love hearing from you. So do say hi, share your fun science facts with us. We are at RPGeeks DnD, that's DnD, pretty much everywhere on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitter, and on Instagram.
What's N in NATO phonetic?
November?
Remember, that's what I wanted to say, yeah.
I don't know why, but I was
No,
going
what's
to try and
D?
spell it out, and I was like, Delta, norovirus, Delta.
Daddy norovirus.
Daddy norovirus.
Daddy.
End it. Quick, Shamini.